problem in sharing this Zoom link to public?
You may share up to a limited amount
because I see password also, so that's why I just wanted to.
You can, if you have got some special people you would like to tell, please tell them to join in.
Okay.
Neeraji, namaskar.
Namaskar. Good to see you.
Aja, but I can't see myself on the thing. No, I am. My name is
how
there.
can आपकी तरफ से you? I think you get your video on and off करिए, then you will be.
My video is on.
So
and now it's off.
Put it off and put it on again. Sometimes
I have again done that, but it is not coming.
Well, now that is something.
It doesn't
tell
matter.
me what is happening with General Chaturvedi's video.
I don't know, but it's okay. If as long as I can hear you.
No, we want to General Chaturvedi. We want to see two generals coming on the Mahabharata. Two generals listening to the Mahabharata date.
Yes.
So I think.
Madam, namaskar. Meera, madam, namaskar.
Can I just take 2 minutes for everyone, please?
Yes.
Hello, myself, Himani Joshi. Yeah. Let me describe you what's happening in the Zoom call. What happens whenever one person has to speak, host side will put that particular person on pin, spotlight for everyone. So that person will be on the big screen. And if you want to see all the people together, then you can go for the view and gallery view and full screen. Opt for the full screen. You will be able to see yourself because so many people are there. Almost 36 participants are there till now. So many people are there. Many screens are there. So so definitely you people are visible to us. Jiska video off hai, wo nahi dikh rahe hai. Otherwise, everyone is visible to us.
Did you see?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
ये दूसरा यहाँ पे और भी लोग जनरल चतुर्वेदी
नमस्कार जी.
Namaskar, Madhav ji. Namaskar. Thank you for joining.
धन्यवाद. नमस्कार मीरा मैडम.
नमस्कार.
अभय सिंह.
हाँ, अभय जी नमस्कार.
जी हाँ.
Abhay Singh ji has joined from Iran, General Katoj. He is also a very good archaeologist and historian of the Panchala, and now he's representing ICCR in Iran. And he's doing wonderful work there on creating our museums, the history between the two nations.
Namaskar, sir.
Abhay ji, Dr. General Katoj is the director of the India Foundation, with who's kindly associated with us for this important program.
मैं जी हाँ, मैं आपका जर्नल पढ़ता हूँ, मुझे यहाँ मिलता है. Great service you are doing. बहुत बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं.
I can see Vishnukant Chaturvedi का blank दिखा रहा है.
He's having a problem with his video.
हाँ, Vishnukant ji is having problem with his video. Yeah.
Okay, but he can see us.
But I can see you and I can hear you. Both ways it's okay.
No, we can see that your name is deflecting, but your image
picture is not coming. Image is not there.
And it's a red color. I don't know why. Now off हुआ है, and I hope it comes up again.
I put it off and I have now put it on.
Okay.
Maybe camera issues.
I think there's a camera issue in your subsystem, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because I'm seeing a colored red color window.
I'll do that. Yeah, that's correct.
Now we can see. Great.
Yes. It was the camera problem. I think it was locked.
Yes.
Right.
Has anybody joined from IHAR? Has Dr. Shubhrata joined? There was
yes, ma'am. Yes, Vivek. Yes, ma'am. Yes, Vivek.
Oh, hi, Vivek. Has Shubhrata ji joined and Dr. Mohan Gupt?
I'm just calling them.
Okay.
Wait a minute, ma'am.
Okay.
Dr. Surboto.
56 people.
No. 40. Time is 56.
So because we just have now 4 minutes to get started, we don't want to take too long. Comb Carpenter
Yeah, I'm
has
just
joined.
calling to
Have
the
we
Mohan
seen- can we see
I'm just
Comb?
calling to him.
Can we see Comb somewhere, Dr. Comb?
Yes, namaskar. How
Namaskar,
are you?
namaskar.
Good evening to everyone.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ji, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, Shashi, Dr. Shashi, Professor Shashi Balaji. Professor Shashi Bala is in Bharati Vidya Bhavan. She's head of the Indology division and doing fantastic work, and especially related to China. And she has joined in such fantastic group of scholars with us also, you know. So it's really a pleasure to have her with us today also.
It's my pleasure.
Yes, madam. Now I unmuted. Okay, madam.
Oh, Dr.
Now,
has joined.
what they are talking, it is not audible to me.
Okay. But I
think
I'm just going to Jen Katoj, shall we keep to the time, 7 o'clock, because it's about to be 7?
Just check, Disha, if you're listening, just check Ram Madhav ji aage ki nahi?
Ram Madhav ji.
இது கரெக்டா இருக்குங்க. அந்த இது ஜாயின் பண்ண முடியல. வந்துருச்சா? ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. அதனால ஜாயின் பண்ணோம். அதுல என்னோட பேர் வராது இல்லை. அவங்க வந்து ஜாயின் மீட்டிங் வெரி லோன் போட்டுருக்கோம். இதை ஒன்று வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டோம் சார். Hello?
Neeraji?
Yes, please.
Ram Madhav ji has joined us. Ram Madhav ji, namaskar.
Okay, so we can get started.
Yes.
Himani, I think Himani.
I will go some other computer.
Yes, ma'am. Neera, ma'am.
Yes, 7 o'clock sharp. Shall we just get started now, please?
Sure. Shall I start? Shall I start?
There is 1 minute more. We can start. Now we can start.
As General Katoj, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We can start now.
Yeah, before starting, I just want Diksha ji to kindly make Dr. Amil Raja co-host, because he will be sharing PPT.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you, Diksha ji. Okay, ma'am, shall we start now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, Himani Joshi, on behalf of India Foundation and Draupadi Dream Trust, welcome you all in 3 days date debate, that is Tithi Shashtrarth. To begin with today's first day session, I would like to request Mr. Comb Carpenter, Director, India Foundation, to address his welcome speech. Mr. Comb Carpenter, born in Spain and has lived and worked in many countries with research in areas of competitive sociology, philosophy, and history of science and religion. Now, I hand over the coming session to Mr. Comb Carpenter. Sir, please.
Namaskar. Good evening to all. Thank you. It's my honor to very, very briefly open this session by welcoming Shri Ram Madhav from India Foundation and Srimati Neera Mishra from Draupadi Dream Trust, as well as all the distinguished speakers, observers, and participants. I would like to say very simply that this is a very fascinating and passionate debate that has been ongoing for quite a few years, but data keep being discovered and catalogued with every passing year. And the subject,
I can't speak there.
the subject is becoming therefore much more clearly delineated in the minds of both academics and the more general interested students and researchers. So I would like first, I think, to rather than taking more time, I would like to let I believe Shri Madhav ji give his inaugural speech, which will be followed by the various presentations of today. Thank you. I will now mute myself.
Thank you, sir. Moving forward, now I invite Ms. Neera Mishra, Chairperson Draupadi Dream Trust, to welcome all the honored invitees of today's session. Ms. Neera Mishra has transformed herself from an entrepreneur to a social entrepreneur. Our trust, Draupadi Dream Trust, is working on two verticals: women empowerment and reviving awareness and advocacy of Bharatiya Sabhyata, Sanskriti and Itihas, that is Indian culture and history. So now I hand over the session ahead to Ms. Neera Mishra. Ma'am, please carry on.
कुछ दिन पहले पाकिस्तान में हिंदू राइट्स मूवमेंट ने एक सर्वे करके बताया था कि बंटवारे के बाद से ही पाकिस्तान में
Yes, Ms. Neera, ma'am. Ma'am, you are not audible. Neera, ma'am, you are not audible.
So can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I have to repeat myself. So Com has done me the favor of taking less time. Respected Honorable Shri Ram Madhav ji, General Katoch, Shri Com Carpenter ji, Honorable Professor Bibi Lal ji, honored observers, speakers, dignitaries, and all the young scholars. Let's start with the way Indians start. Vara Kalpe, Kal Yuge, Jambu Deepe, Bharat Khande, Arya Varte, Bharat Varshe, Indrapras Dilli Pradeshe. आज विक्रम संवत 2077 पौष शुक्ल की नवमी के दिन शुक्ल पक्ष की नवमी के दिन में नीरा मिश्रा कंपिलवासी इंद्रप्रस्थ निवासी सहस्रवत्सव गोत्र coming from the 10th generation of Sri Rama. On behalf of Draupadi Dream Trust and myself, आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करती हूँ. It's a great pleasure and honor and privilege to welcome such a august gathering to this knowledge manthan titled Tithi Shashtrarth. We have gathered here to understand how far we have reached in structuring the chronology of our historical journey and what more is needed, because knowledge has to be translated into meaningful information for dissemination to people, then only it is knowledge worth. I deliberately started with the Sankalp mantra to emphasize the importance of our ancient seers that they have given us to time, space, and continuity of civilizational knowledge and our own space and identity in it. Knowledge of our historical journey in terms of scientifically validated data embedded in our texts, inscriptions, astronomical data in our epics, and the immense information unearthed by our archaeologists has become important because many factors combined in promulgation of fallacious history post 1947, and many generations have been deprived of our factual knowledge. We all know about the damages in the medieval times and the Macaulay system has done, and of course the post 1947, the ideological communist ideological approach. But besides that, we have also few other things to think of. Our epics have been taught only as works of good literature and philosophy ignoring completely the geographical and historical data embedded in them. Secondly, the teaching of epics as religious texts only internationally by people who do not or chose not to understand the that the Western concepts of religion are different to the Bharatiya spiritual knowledge systems. Now, in all this confusion, our chronology was blurred, assumed chronologies incorporated to suit their limited historical knowledge, and our Itihas has suffered. Now, the pleasant surprise today, in today's time, is that noteworthy work of revival of chronological knowledge has been done by independent scholars, because the mainstream education has been too wary or maybe not promoted to touch this subject. When current textbooks cover thousands of years of our history in just 50 pages and devote hundreds of pages to medieval and colonial history, we all know it is time to energize our scholars and systems and to correct the flaws. The Draupadi Dream Trust that started in 2013 from the Vedic city of Kampilya, which is an ASI protected site, seeing the pathetic condition, we were appalled that how come that our historical knowledge is people don't even know about it. In this 18 years, we have done 8 workshops, international workshops, and touched upon ancient Indian civilization and culture, and touched upon the chronology and dating, but there has been a problem. These conferences, published material have been good content for research, but have limitations because so much wide variety of inferences have been presented by the scholars. So the question arises, if all are using the same textual information, same astronomical data, why is there such a gap in dates? In regard to archaeology, we are all aware of the pioneering work of Professor B.B. Lal when he started in the 1950s with epic archaeology of Hastinapur. But archaeology was introduced by the colonial rulers, and comparatively, I think it's a limited new science compared to our Vedic sciences. Plus, archaeologists can only date a product and give the antiquity of a place. Still, there is a dispute on what is the cultural sequencing of all the epics. Herein lies the importance of multidisciplinary Tithi Shashtrarth to explore and to sieve, to synergize and arrive at results that satisfy scholarly interpretation and serve our purpose of incorporating in mainstream teaching of our historical journey with proportionate space in the books. So I think with these little observations, I would like to hand over, I would like to invite our honored chief guest today to share his valuable views. And in between, if there is time in the interaction, we can continue with more information. I would like you to just have one more point to be considered, that it is important for us to understand the methodology that was used by our ancient scholars in documenting our history. And when we follow that methodology, we are able to arrive at a very good conclusion of how our historical journey has progressed. And it is very, very authentic. It's just that it needs to be told in the proper way to our people. Thank you so much. And I thank India Foundation and Ram Madhav ji and General Katoj for being so kind enough to associate for this important subject, because so much more needs to be done. And with your support, I'm sure we will reach the objective of having very soon in our textbooks. Thank you. Please welcome Professor Honorable Shri Ram Madhav ji.
Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Every session is incomplete without blessing of its chief guest. Moving ahead, now I would like to request Shri Ram Madhav ji, an Indian politician who served as the National General Secretary of BJP and also a member of the National Executive of the RSS, and has authored over 12 books. I request Shri Ram Madhav ji for his blessing and share his valuable views. Sir, can you please carry on with this? Shri Ram Madhav ji.
Thank you, Maniji. My namaskars to all the distinguished scholars, academics, and other members present in this very important 3-day conference taking place on dating of Mahabharata. You have given a wonderful name for it, Tithi Shashtrarth. Shastrartha is our tradition. I'm sure next 3 days you will engage in a very meaningful Shastrartha and come out with some very important conclusions. It is said that past is still at work. Looking at all of you, I now realize the meaning of it. You are the people, the historians, the archaeologists, the academics engaged in exploring the past are the ones who keep past working. I congratulate you, compliment you for this very important initiative that you have taken. George Santayana used to say that history is always written wrong and so always needs to be rewritten. One need not agree with his first observation that it is always written wrong, but that it should always be rewritten. Appreciated in the right spirit, because history is a never-ending exploration about our past. As you encounter new facts, as you encounter new evidences, you always update your historical narratives. In that sense, this effort, although Professor Neera Mishra rightly pointed out, it is not the first time that such an exercise is being undertaken. We have had this exercise going on for many decades. I belong to the RSS. In the RSS, there is one organization called the Itihas Sankalana Yojana. Through that organization, a lot of work has happened in the direction of trying to date these very ancient historical events. So I really compliment you for trying to take it forward. As Professor Neera Mishra very rightly pointed out, unfortunately, history writing, the methodology, even to this day, remains the Western one. We try to fit every historical in that Western historiographic framework. Now that framework came into existence with, as they themselves claim, with Herodotus. Now, Herodotus has been branded as father of history. Herodotus belonged to, I think, if I'm not wrong, 3rd or 4th century BCE. If he is the father of history, our Valmiki and Vyasa should be great-grandfather and grandfather of history. But then nobody appreciates the fact that historical recording, historical narratives happened in India also much before the world started acknowledging history from that epic work done by Herodotus in the name of the histories. It was essentially about Greco-Persian wars. But our history predates that. But somehow the understanding about our history, again, as Professor Neera ji pointed out, that they are all poems, or they are all just classics, some kind of mythological stuff, some some literature was created, but that's not really history. I came across a very profound statement by Emerson. Emerson says, our greatest history is still in our poetry. Meaning what we consider as mere poetry is actually the history. It was one way of transmitting history through generations after generations. So classics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, these were narrated in a particular form. Since there was reference to Professor Bibilal's work, he has done extensive work through archaeological angle, but also through historical perspective. Now, it is a fact that you are embarking on the exercise of dating the Mahabharata events, including Mahabharata war. But the problem is Mahabharata, when it was that original scripture by name Jaya, I heard that it had just some 8,000 verses. But today Mahabharata has more than 1 lakh verses. So there was poets' own interpretation, then subsequently the interpreters added their interpolations. It's a Herculean task to now go back to the original sources case of trying to reach at that exact date of these historical events. I'm sure these exercises will help in moving in that direction. Methodology, as again Niraji pointed out, it is our own methodology. We have had references to things like planetary positions, eclipses. These are all benchmarks for trying to identify the exact date of all these things. So through our own methodology, you are trying to arrive at proper dating of these historical events. It's really very good. Only issue is, even through this exercise, I'm not sure whether we would be able to come to any real final conclusion about it. Hence, this should go on. Again, coming back to Professor B.B. Lal. Professor B.B. Lal, in his work, in his archaeological work, has dated it to 9th century BCE or 10th century, between 9th and 10th century BCE. It was not just based on historical evidences. It was also based on the history from Parikshit Maharaj to Udayana, then trying to take it backwards and trying to say that from Udayana, who lived in 5th century BCE, he was the 24th descendant after the Mahabharata war. Hence, he should be another 300-400 years. He followed one particular method, and he arrived at something like 9th century or 10th century BCE. But somebody like our Memphis Professor Narahari Acharya, he went back to 3100 BCE. That takes Mahabharata war to some 5,000 years back. Your general understanding about it is between, of course, 9th century BCE or 10th century BCE to 14th, 15th century BCE. So this exercise should go on. What we are all doing is extremely valuable. Trying to come at trying to build a consensus over the exact dating of these incidents. So my hearty congratulations to you for continuing this work. This should go on. But I will only end with a small rider, because I am not a historian, so I have this freedom to say this with you. As a historian, you will never agree with me, that we Indians are never history-driven people. From this entire conference tomorrow, after 3 days, you come to the conclusion that Ramayana and Mahabharata were just myths. Even then, the respect, the reverence for Rama and Krishna among the average Indians is not going to go away. Because these did not only represent history, they also represented a civilizational value system. That value system is what is very important for us, and that is what keeps us linked up to these great narratives. While their historicity must be established, and I was told that in Ramayana, for example, there were 30 slokas which come when Ram starts his return journey from Lanka to Ayodhya by that Pushpaka Vimana together with Sita. He narrates the geography of India that he traversed to reach Sri Lanka through 30 slokas in that journey. And one scholar told me that though that description near accurately describes the geography of India. How was it possible?
Unmute,
how is it possible is a very interesting thing. So there is a historical element in our scriptures. I'm sure these efforts will bring us closer to that reality, and we will be able to authentically tell the world that these are all, like Homer's Iliad or the history is written by Herodotus. These are also historical documents written much before the father of history, Herodotus or somebody else like Homer and all have written about Greek history. I compliment all of you. I wish you all a great success in next 3 days of deliberations. My pranams to all of you. Namaskar.
Just wanted to inform you that Itihas Sankalan Secretary Balmukunji is with us. JNU Professor Santosh Shuklaji, who heads the Sanskrit Puranic Studies Department, is with us. So we have got the right people there with us to help us take forward this project with your blessings. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking out time and blessing this program.
Thank you so much, sir. And we are looking forward for a very interesting and remarkable debate in next 3 days. So now I would like to hand over the session to session chairperson, Professor Santosh Shuklaji, Dean, School of Sanskrit and Indic Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University. So I request Professor Santosh ji to kindly carry forward with this session.
मेरे को अनम्यूट कर दो। मैं बोल रही थी वो सुन पाए थे? क्या हो रहा है?
Professor Santosh ji, you will have to unmute yourself. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Some disturbance, you host will mute all.
याम मेधाम देवगणाः पितरश्च उपासते तया मामद्य मेधया अग्नि मेधाविनम कुरु। आज इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित आदरणीय सभी विद्वत जनों को मेरा सादर प्रणाम। माननीय मुख्य अतिथि जी के वक्तव्य से हम लोग बहुत उपकृत हुए और आज के सत्र में प्रोफेसर शशि तिवारी जी, ML राजा जी, आदरणीय वेदवीर आर्य जी और N रवि जी का व्याख्यान होगा और हिस्ट्री और टाइम पर जो हम लोग डिबेट कर रहे हैं, काल चिंतन, और ये वाद है और वाद से जरूर कोई ना कोई तत्व हम लोगों को प्राप्त होगा, क्योंकि काल के बारे में जो पौराणिक अवधारणा है मनवंतर की, उसको लेकर के और ऐतिहासिक दृष्टि से आर्कियोलॉजी को देख करके और ज्योतिषीय कालगणना की दृष्टि से, इन सभी दृष्टियों से भारत की कालगणना के बारे में आज विचार होगा। और हमारे बीच में चारों विद्वान हैं, तो मैं, क्योंकि ये सभी अपने अपने क्षेत्र के महत्वपूर्ण विद्वान हैं, तो पहले हम लोग इनको सुनेंगे और उसके बाद यह सत्र परिचर्चा के लिए सबके लिए ओपन होगा। तो सबसे पहले आज के सत्र में आदरणीय वेदवीर आर्य जी का व्याख्यान होगा। तो मैं आदरणीय वेदवीर आर्य जी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे अपने व्याख्यान से हम लोगों को अनुग्रहित करें।
नमस्कार संतोष जी एंड आदरणीय और राम माधव जी, नीरा मिश्रा जी, मेजर कटोच जी एंड बहुत सारे जो विद्वत जन यहाँ पर उपस्थित है। महाभारत काल के ऊपर समय निर्धारण के लिए सबसे पहले मैं अपना पीपीटी शेयर करता हूँ कि कैसी मेथडोलॉजी हमको अडॉप्ट करना चाहिए। फिर उसके बाद मैं टेक्सचुअल एविडेंसेस में आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करूंगा। विशेष रूप से जब भी हम कुरुक्षेत्र वार या महाभारत वार, whenever we talk about, it is not anything we should decide the date on just internal evidence. We have to consider all internal, external evidences for arriving the Kurukshetra war. It's actually reconciliation of all evidences. We must adopt no selective acceptance, no selective rejection methodology. Then any rejection of evidence must be factually explained why I am not considering this particular evidence. Then only valid translations of Sanskrit shlokas, because many, I have found that some people are translating shlokas even violating the Sanskrit grammar. So we must, okay, alternative translations are welcome, but the context is more important. The translation should match the context, as well as the valid with reference to Sanskrit grammar, that is important. Then while establishing the chronology, we have to, even not only the date of Mahabharata war, we have to establish the entire chronology from Brihadrata dynasty to Gupta dynasty, because Puranas give the chronology starting from the Mahabharata war till Gupta dynasty, as well as we have to establish the Buddha Nirvana date.
Others can mute. I think somebody is coming.
So while we just go through the internal evidence, so the Adi Parva, it clearly mentions that the Mahabharata war took place at the end of Dwapara Yuga. So we have to unravel the chronology of these yugas, because we have to fix the date of Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and then Kali Yuga. And traditional evidence like Rajatarangini, even entire tradition, Indian tradition says that the war took place just after the end of the Dwapara Yuga. So even internal evidence of Mahabharata, it clearly mentioned Akriti to Prayatnesman Upavrittah Kalirmaha. And Etat Kaliyugam Nama Atiradyat Pravartate in Vanaparva. Then Praptam Kaliyugam Vidhi Pratigyam Pandavasya Cha Shalya Parva. Then Udyoga Parva Kale Kale Sattva Vatamvara. So there are more than 4 verses in Mahabharata clearly indicate that Kali Yuga had already been commenced just before the Kurukshetra war. So we have to establish the end of Dwapara Yuga and the beginning of Kali Yuga so that we can fix the date of Mahabharata war. Then Aryabhatiyam, clearly the Aryabhata indicates the 4th Yugapada, the Kali Yuga, has commenced Bharatat Purvam. It means before Mahabharata war. So clearly the Aryabhatiyam also in line with the internal evidence of Mahabharata. There is another statement in the Purana that Sri Krishna left the mortal world the day he left, on the same day Kali Yuga has commenced. So, but Mahabharata says Sri Krishna left the mortal world in the 36th years after Mahabharata. So these two appear to be contradictory, but it's not contradictory. I'm going to explain how this both can be explained. Then we have a Saptarshi cycle. India followed traditionally from Treta Yuga onwards the Saptarshi cycle of 2700 years. And many Puranas, Vayu Purana, Vishnu Purana, Brihat Samhita, Kali Yuga Raja Vrittanta, Raja Tarangini, they all mention that when Yudhishthira was ruling, Saptarshis were in Magha. I want to just highlight here that here we are not talking any astronomical observation. Actually, when Yuga length have been enhanced from 5-year Yuga to some 1200 years and 12,000 years, there was a need to count the elapsed years. For counting the elapsed years, the rishis come out of an idea, why not we assign 100 years to a particular nakshatra? So it's not an astronomical dating, it's only how this epoch has been, when this cycle has been started. Based on that, we can arrive the date of the, like Saptarshi cycle was 2700 years. The first 100 years was 6777 to 6677 BC. These 100 years have been assigned to Ashwini Nakshatra. Just to remember, because we know that 27 nakshatras, I think Indians followed a very lunisolar calendar from the beginning of Vedic era. So the nakshatras were well known. So every nakshatra has been assigned 100 years. So the first cycle had 2700 years. The second cycle, Ashwini Nakshatra, was 4777 to 3977. So that second cycle was from 4077 to 1370. What you have to do, Magha Nakshatra was the 10th Nakshatra. So exactly 3176 to 3076. This was the 100 years So that Saptarshi cycle clearly indicates that the Mahabharata war took place between these 100 years. So we have to now find out the exact date between these 100 years. So Mahabharata war cannot be dated before 3176 BCE, not after 3076 BCE, as per the Saptarshi cycle. Our entire Puranic tradition, as well as the even Vriddha Garga also mentioned that when Yudhishthira was ruling, that time Saptarshi cycle reached the Magha Nakshatra. Now the epigraphic evidence. So I wanted to corroborate the Saptarshi cycle, whether it has any evidence. What I have established that during the 3176 to 3076, in those 100 years, Saptarshis are in Magha Nakshatra. There is a Hisse Borala inscription. It is a Vakataka inscription that refers to Saptarshaya Uttarasu Phalgunishu Shakanam 380. So now I have established, this is the very complex subject that I will, so this Shakaira had two different epochs. One was the ancient epoch 583 BC and Shakanta, actually what we use presently 78 AD. There is an error of 661 years. So the Shaka 380 mentioned is actually related to BC. So 583 BC, you minus 380, 203 BC was the date in which the Hisse Borala inscription was actually engraved. So Saptarshaya Uttar, so this 100 years, 276 to 176 BC, Uttara Phalguni Nakshatra. If you calculate backwards, exactly 3176 to 3076 was the 100 years block in which the subcycle of the Saptarshi cycle, in which Saptarshis were in Magha Nakshatra. So this is the inscription, what has been published in the Epigraphia Indica. Then while dating the Kurukshetra war, now we have to establish the Dwapara Yuga, because we are using Surya Siddhanta calendar, the Chaitra Shukladi calendar, just last 2000 years or just 2200 years. Prior to that, we were using, mostly we were using Magha Shukla Pratipada calendar in Paitamaha Siddhanta. That's why since the 3176 BCE was the beginning of the Kali Yuga for the Paitamaha Siddhanta, so 2400, this was the Dwapara Yuga. So Dwapara Yuga ended 3176 BC. Saptarshis were in Magha Nakshatra, and the date of Kurukshetra war must be 100 years, what I have. Now, how to arrive an epoch of Kali Yuga? I just want to highlight here that the epoch of Kali Yuga, it's not that a time cycle is fixed for every astronomical Siddhanta. That's not correct. Every Siddhanta had its own epoch of Kali Yuga, but that is within the 70 years of the 3176 to 3101 BCE. Why so? I'll just explain. Like in a Paitamaha Siddhanta, a Siddhanta which is following the Saptarshi cycle, you can commence a Kali Yuga only within after completion of 100 years. You can't start in between. Either you have to start a Kali Yuga in 3176 BC or 3076 BC. You can't commence any. So in Paitamaha Siddhanta, 3101 cannot fit for the Kali Yuga epoch. So this was the epoch in a Paitamaha Siddhanta Magha Shukladi calendar. 316 BC was the epoch of Kali Yuga. In Brahma Siddhanta, which followed a Prabhava Samvatsara starting when Jupiter was in Ashwini Nakshatra. This was also very important because like Paitamaha Siddhanta followed the Saptarshi cycle of 2700 years and subcycle of 100 years, where this Brahma Siddhanta followed the 60-year cycle. So you can't start in between. The Kali Yuga must start from Prabhava Samvatsara. So this was the epoch. Today what we are following the 60-year cycle, we follow this epoch 3173 BCE. When Jupiter was in Ashwini Nakshatra. There was another school of Brahma Siddhanta in which Prabhava Samvatsara can commence only when Jupiter was in Dhanishta Nakshatra. Brihat Samhita also mentions this, and as well as the other Surya Siddhanta also, that Latadeva. So this is how, when Latadeva compiled the Surya Siddhanta, he mentions conjunction of planets in very important for beginning of Kali Yuga. So we must see, there were 4 or 5 different schools of Siddhantas which describe about the beginning of Kali Yuga in the 32nd century BC. But the problem is, we are since last 2000 years we are following the Latadeva Surya Siddhanta. That's why we generally assume that 3101 BCE is the only epoch of Kali Yuga. That is not correct. There are different epochs in a 3 to 4 different Siddhantas. Then I'll tell you this eye-hole inscription. This is the inscription evidence which gives the exact dating of the Mahabharata. Trimshastru tri sahasreshu bharatadahavaditaha saptabda shatayukteshu gateshvabdeshu panchasu panchashastsu kalokale. So in this one, what the major issue is here, the saptabda shatayukteshu. I think many Sanskrit scholars are sitting here. This, in case sapta shatabda yukteshu, then we can translate it to 700 years. Saptabda shata, saptabdanam, saptabdaha, shatam. This is a dvandva samasa here. It cannot be sapta shatabda. If it is sapta shatabda, then you can translate 700. But translating as a 700 is the incorrect translation of this shloka. And there is also a problem whether this sa is not clearly visible in the inscription. Just it may be praptabha. So we need to find out first what is there. But then gateshvabdeshu is perfectly okay. So now we can arrive actually trimshatsu 30, 3000, 100 or 107, then 5 years. If you add down 3135 years, that what we have to do, we have to reconcile with the Shakaira given in this inscription. So we need to understand the epoch of Shakaira. The Indian epigraphs and numerous inscriptions and copper plates have been rejected as a forgery by the colonial archaeologists and colonial epigraphists, since they could not explain certain inscriptions. Those I have established that there was an ancient Shaka that commenced in 583 BC. Traditionally, Varahamira Kalidasa were in the court of Vikramaditya, who was in 1st century BC, and Varahamira Kalidasa both refer to Shakaira. So this was the chronological problem in case Shakaira commenced only in 78 AD. There is an ancient Shaka existed which we have forgotten. That we can rediscover if we study the inscriptions. So based on that, I have arrived the 583 BC based on the Kurtakoti copper plate, which refers to a total solar eclipse that cannot be explained if you take the year of 530 Shaka in 610. But that solar eclipse took place in the 9th May 1553 BC. So this is how I fixed the epoch of Shakaira based on the astronomical evidence of the epigraphs. So now 27 BC, you had 3135, it comes to 3162 BC. This is how I arrived the eye-hole inscription. This can be cross-verified based on the other things. But before that, we must understand what kind of calendar was followed during the Mahabharata era based on the internal evidence. The Mahabharata clearly indicates that they are using Vedanga Jyotisha calendar with the Pausha Ashada intercalation. Samvatsaraha Panchayugam Kalachakram, this as in Sabha Parva. Anu Samvatsaram Jata Apite Kuru Sattamaha Panduputra Vyarajanta Pancha Samvatsara Iva. Then Virata Parva, this is the statement made by the Bhishma. Tesham Kalatirekena Jyotisham Chavite Panchame Varshe Dvau Masa Upajayate. Clearly, this last sentence indicates that every 5th year there was the 2 months of Pausha Masas. So this is how the Mahabharata, during Mahabharata era, they followed the 5-year calendar. I have reconstructed from 3176 BC to 3162 BC how this Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, that the Mahabharata war, when that it took place, the year was actually last year of this 5-year cycle, that Idvatsara. So that year had a intercalation of Pausha month. Now we have a Yudhishthira Samvat, Pandava Samvat. There are numerous evidences like Jyotirvida Bharanam Kalidasa. This text refers to 3043 years of Yudhishthira Samvat. So he clearly mentioned that the Yudhishthira Samvat was abandoned after this year because we switched over from Magha Shukladi calendar to the Chaitra Shukladi. Then Vriddha Garga also says 2526 years of Yudhishthira era before Shaka epoch. And there is a Maheshwara Vanshavali, 9th year, even Rorukas Vanshavalis, they use Pandava Samvat for the giving the chronology of their Vanshavalis. So this is how now how to identify the exact epoch of Pandava Samvat. This I got it in Yellacharya, who wrote a commentary on Aryabhatiyam. What he says, Yellacharya, Kalyabdaha Ruparahita Pandavabda Prakirtitaha. Kalyabdaha, the years of Kali, actually when you minus 12, then Pandavabda. It means he clearly states that from the epoch of Kali, after 12 years, Mahabharata war took place. This is how Aryabhatta's Brahma Siddhanta. Now I have to find out the what date actually Aryabhatta referred as per the. So this when Ashwini, when Jupiter was in Ashwini Nakshatra, so he is referring to the commencement of Prabhava in when Jupiter was. So that was 3173 BCE. So this is actually astronomical. I'm not going into. We will discuss in tomorrow when we discuss the astronomical references. This is how fourth Yugapada. When you minus 3173 BC 12, this is the 3161 BC Magha Shukla Pratipada.
वेदवीर जी, आदरणीय वेदवीर जी, कंक्लूड करेंगे क्योंकि सब 10-10 मिनट का समय है.
So this is how the Saptarshis in Magha, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga's epoch, and Kali Yuga cannot commence in 3101 BCE for the Saptarshi cycle. So that's why this is the reason why Kashmiri tradition starts 3076 BC as the epoch of Kashmiri Samvat, because you cannot start Kali Yuga 3101 in a cycle of Saptarshis. So this is how I have arrived based on the Aihole inscription as well as Yellacharya's epoch of Yudhishthira Samvat. So this is how the date has been established. Now the Sri Krishna who left the mortal world in the 36th year, when you minus the 3162, 3126 BCE, this was the Prabhava Samvatsara in a Siddhanta when Jupiter was in Dhanishta Nakshatra. So this is the one in a particular, the Vaishnava tradition followed Jupiter in Dhanishta Nakshatra for Prabhava. This was the reason why Vaishnava tradition says that when Sri Krishna left the world, on the same day Kali Yuga had commenced. So this is there were the two different epochs they were referring. When Mahabharata is referring, they are referring to 3176 BC. When Vaishnava tradition referring to the Kali beginning, that is 3126 BC. This is how we can establish the both way. Mahabharata is also correct as well as Purana is also correct. So this is how we can even reconcile the chronology, because reconciling the chronology is important. I fixed the Buddha Nirvana date 1865 BC and various other, because we have to reconcile Puranic chronology and the chronology given in Buddhist and Jain sources. So entire chronology can be reconciled from the considering the date of Mahabharata war in 3162. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद वेदवीर जी. वेदवीर जी का आर्गुमेंट विशेष रूप से सप्तर्षि संवत्सर पर आधारित है और सप्तर्षि संवत्सर कश्मीर की परंपरा में बहुत प्रमुख रूप से व्यवहार में था. और बृहत संहिता में बरामीरचार्य ने सप्तर्षि 4 अध्याय के रूप में एक अध्याय लिखा है. कल्हण ने सबसे पहले सप्तर्षि संवत्सर का प्रयोग किया है. इस प्रकार से ये संवत्सर 1000 वर्ष पुराने रूप से प्रयोग में आ रहा है. और भी इसके उदाहरण हैं जिसमें हमारे जो भीमगुप्त और आचार्य अभिनव गुप्त हैं, उन लोगों ने भी इसका प्रयोग किया था. और भी इसके उदाहरण हैं और इस विषय को और हम लोग आगे चर्चा में ले आएंगे. तो मैं अब दूसरे वक्ता के रूप में डॉक्टर मनीष पंडित जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं.
मैं बीच में बोल सकता हूं?
जी.
मैं अजय भारद्वाज हूँ.
अभी इसके बाद बोले आप, पहले लोगों का परिचर्चा हो जाए, व्याख्यान, उसके बाद ओपन करेंगे डिस्कशन के लिए.
छोटी सी जिज्ञासा.
अभी जिज्ञासा इसके बाद करेंगे. जी.
नमस्ते, मैं डॉक्टर पंडित बोल रहा हूँ, बट आई एम नॉट सपोज्ड टू स्पीक टुडे.
मेरा म्यूट ऑन ऑफ करो ना. टुडे डॉक्टर शुक्ला, टुडे इट इज डॉक्टर शशि तिवारी.
अच्छा, शशि, प्रोफेसर शशि तिवारी जी. आदरणीय प्रोफेसर शशि तिवारी जी को मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ. आप वेब्स की अध्यक्ष हैं और वेद की बड़ी विदुषी हैं. आदरणीय वेदवीर जी भी व्याकरण शास्त्र के, वेद के बड़े पारंगत विद्वान हैं और भारतीय प्रशासनिक सेवा के उच्च अधिकारी हैं. आप का व्याख्यान आप लोगों ने सुना अब मैं आदरणीय शशि तिवारी जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं। आप दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय की आचार्य रही हैं और बेप्स की अध्यक्षा हैं।
क्या हो रहा है? किसकी आवाज आ रही है? किसी का म्यूट नहीं है। मेरा म्यूट कर दिया? म्यूट कर।
मैडम शशि जी,
Yes,
जी जी मैम।
I have to repeat again. Abhinandan and Abhivadan to all of you. And this is a very important program. We are here attending it, and it is called Shastrarth. The mode is Shastrarth. Actually, Samvad, Vad, Vivad, these are Vedic mode of teaching and learning, and through that we used to reach to the earth of Shastra. So hopefully we will determine some dates, etc., of our ancient historical events. So with these good wishes for the seminar, and congratulations to Dr. Neera Mishra ji, Draupadi Trust and India Foundation for organizing such a important topic debate program. Very, very thankful to all of you who are here, distinguished and learned speakers and scholars are here attending it. So I was just spoke as the format of this program only for 10 minutes. Then in the second round, we will discuss something else. And today, this chronology issue is discussed on the basis of astronomy, linguistics, literature, archaeology, inscription, genetic sciences also. And here in this session, we are discussing it on the textual, based on the textual references. And here Dr. Veer Arya ji, Jithin Ravi ji, Dr. Raja are our other speakers, and I welcome them all. As we all know, today many eminent scholars and researchers are working seriously to find out the date of our ancient historical events, but they are not yet reached to any conclusion. Rather, we can say that they are confused more after this discussion. And my subject, as you all know, is especially Vedic literature, Vedic Vedas. So I will first begin to say something about the chronology of Vedic literature. Vedas are our most ancient literature, and they speak about the Vedic people in large, but they don't speak about the dates, about the chronology. And there are many questions related to Vedic people, which are under discussion as a part of our ancient history, archaeology, religion, mythology. And all this begin, actually, the hunt for the original homeland and the time period of the Aryans began in 1786, when Sir William Jones proclaimed first time that old languages as Celtic, ancient Sanskrit, ancient Greek, Latin, and Persian, etc., were coming from a common source. And if they are coming from a common source, they must be sometime the people who were speaking these languages must be living all together. Otherwise, how these similarities can be there? So the hunt for the time period and the homeland started from that point, and the whole of the 19th century was dedicated to the study of Vedic literature and Vedic linguistics. And the in 1912, we may say, A.V. Keith and A.A. MacDonald published a book called Vedic Index, And that was the end of this study, Vedic literature interpretation. All these things were, that was the final stage. And after that, surprisingly, we got to know about bogus inscription. And that was in 1907 BCE, when archaeology found or excavated a bogus inscription in east of Turkey. And it was mentioning about two clans and their fight, and then their sandhi, and as a witness, 4 Vedic deities were mentioned there: Indra, Mitra, Varun, Nasatyo. So this was a amazing thing for historians, how these Vedic deities were known at the time of 14th century BCE at that place. And then after some time, in 1920, as we all know, Harappan and Mohenjo-daro were excavated. And that was again a big surprise for students of history and archaeology. So these cities, Harappan and Mohenjo-daro, were assigned the time of 3,300 or like that BCE. And again, there was a contradiction with the Vedic literature, where to place Vedic literature, where to place Harappan. And some people start saying that they were anti-Aryan or they were non-Aryan. So what is their status? Are they Aryan? Are they Aryan? Immigration theory was framed. Migration theory was framed. So these, if we calculate everything, and we will find out that Vedic literature is the only source to know about the Vedic civilization. And Harappan civilization we came to know only through archaeology. Even there are scripts in Harappa, but it is not readable yet. So there is no other evidence, and that is the status that only one archaeological evidence is for Harappan and literary evidence is for Vedic people to know. Yet we know so many things about Vedic people through Vedic literature. But even then, about their date, about their place, there is nothing mentioned. In fact, they are not mentioning at all about the date, about the place. So these questions start in the mind of the students, and as I am raising only questions, what are the questions and what are the limitations to solve them, and then we may conclude about this, that dating of the Vedas is a problem, and why it is a problem. In short, first is that Vedic literature is the oldest literature in the world, not only in India but in the world. So dating is a very difficult. Then secondly, Vedic verses or Vedic references nowhere talk about time. They don't give any date, they don't give any particular time for their dating, so it is a problem. The third is our traditional view, which says Anantavai Veda. Vedas are Ananta, Vedas are Aporshaya, Vedas are Anadi, Vedas are Satya. ब्रह्म के साथ ही उत्पन्न हुए, ब्रह्म से पहले से उत्पन्न हुए, स्वयंभू हैं. तो like that we give a very high priority to the Vedic knowledge. We say that it is a revealed knowledge, revealed by the seers, revealed by the sages, our ancient sages, Gritsmat, Vishwamitra, Vamdev, Atri, Bharadwaj, Vashisht. There are so many rishis in the Vedas. Everyone is revealing some mantra or the other. So it is a revealed knowledge. They are not claiming the authorship of those mantras. So when we are going to give a date, what date for what? Date for knowledge, or date for that verse, or date for that particular authorship which is given by Anukramanis to these mantras? So these are the problems, these are the limitations. And in the next round, if there will be time, I will say something about them. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
मैं एक सेकंड में मैं थोड़ा सा इस सारे चिंतन में may I speak a word?
अजय जी, अभी 2 और लोग बोलने वाले हैं, उनके बोलने के पश्चात हम परिचर्चा करेंगे और फिर आपसे प्रश्न लेंगे, जिज्ञासा लेंगे। बहुत सारी जिज्ञासाएं हैं, तो थोड़ी देर के बाद 10-20 मिनट पश्चात।
एक सेकंड बोल सकता हूँ? एक सेकंड, चलिए ठीक
जी।
मुझे मैं बीच में अनसॉलिसिटेड सा स्पीकर बन के ही कोशिश कर रहा हूँ मेरे को कि हम ये समय को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं या विचार को डिस्कस कर रहे हैं। हमारे वेदास जो है, हमारे महाभारत जो है, हमारी रामायण जो है, इट्स ऑल अबाउट थॉट। हम इसे
ये आप जो विषय कह रहे हैं ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है। हिस्ट्री ऑफ आइडियाज, उसका विचार का इतिहास, समय क्या होगा।
हम यूरोपियन नहीं, हम यूरोपियन थॉट के अनुसार चलने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि यूरोप ने डिसाइड किया कि 1909 में ये हुआ, 1606 में ये हुआ।
नहीं, ये हम चलने का प्रयास नहीं कर रहे, हम परिचर्चा कर रहे हैं कि इस विषय को कैसे समझा जाए, क्योंकि विचार का काल नहीं हो सकता और हमारा सारा मौखिक ट्रेडिशन है, लेकिन हर दृष्टि से आज के फ्रेमवर्क में इस पर विमर्श करना आवश्यक है और इसीलिए वाद है। टाइम पर हम चर्चा कर रहे हैं कि अपनी क्रोनोलॉजी को कैसे सोचा जाए। कोई साहित्य की दृष्टि से सोच रहा है, कोई आर्कियोलॉजी की दृष्टि से सोच रहा है, कोई ज्योतिष की दृष्टि से सोच रहा है, कोई भाषा की दृष्टि से सोच रहा है। तो ये सारी दृष्टियां हैं और इस पर हम विमर्श कर रहे हैं। कोई निर्णय नहीं होता है। वादे वादे जायते तत्वबोधः। हम कोई निर्णय करने के लिए उपस्थित नहीं है, न निर्णय कर सकते हैं, केवल चर्चा कर सकते हैं। तो मैं अगली चर्चा के लिए डॉक्टर एमएल राजा जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं, जो वेद के अध्येता हैं और आप जो हैं वैदिक मैथमेटिक्स भी जानते हैं और आप चिकित्सक हैं। तो मैं आदरणीय एमएल राजा जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं। 10 मिनट में अपनी विचार, अपने विषय को रखें। एमएल राजा जी जुड़े हैं? डॉक्टर एमएल राजा जी, आपके स्क्रीन पर अभी कुछ भी नहीं आ रहा है।
लीजिए रवि, जिजित को बुला लीजिए, जब तक उनको टाइम लग रहा है।
ठीक। तो अब मैं
हेलो
एन रवि जी को आमंत्रित, या राजा जी अपना पेपर खोल रहे हैं शायद। जी, आप अनम्यूट है, अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को राजा जी, अनम्यूट कीजिए अपने को, अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ राजा जी, प्लीज अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ। Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mr. Rajaji, please unmute yourself.
आप इजाजत दें तो मैं बोल
Time, can we invite Jijith, because we are wasting a lot of time.
Okay, madam.
May I speak, Neeraj
Are
ji,
you, are you
please?
ready? Are you ready, Dr. Raja? Okay.
Neeraj ji, can I talk in context?
Not now. Now, please, Ajay ji, afterwards there will be a discussion. Please let the speakers first have their says, please. The chairperson of the session has already told you, please.
I'm sorry.
We can't hear Dr. Raja.
So can we get in Jijith in the meantime? Because if we can't hear him, we are wasting time. Dr. Raja, you have not unmuted yourself.
I think he's
Please
unmuted. There's a
unmute
problem
yourself,
with his.
Mr. Rajaji.
He's unmuted. There's a problem with his audio.
Okay.
So can we call Jijith in the meantime, by the time he sorts out his problem? Dr. Shukla, I think if you could just call the other speaker, so that we don't waste time.
Shri and Ravi ji.
Yeah, hello. I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Finally.
So, can I share the screen?
Yes.
Please share.
They're unmuted. No. Mute karo.
Actually, I need to have the authorization to share.
Tiwari ji, please authorize him.
Still, it is not there. Can I get the authorization to share?
Yes. Shivani ji. Shivani ji, please authorize him.
His presentation is already visible on the screen. Please go ahead, sir.
No, that is not mine. I have not having the authorization to share.
General Katoj, can somebody from India Foundation connect, give permission for that, please?
Siddharth, can you do the needful, please? Give permission to Shri Ravi ji to share the screen.
Hello.
And Dr. Raja ki band
You're not able. We can't hear you. You please get your audio corrected, please, Dr. Raja. No, you have to talk. We are waiting for you, but you are. Yeah. Okay. कहाँ है राजा? ML Raja कहाँ है?
ML Raja is there.
Can we, Dr. Shukla, can you hear Dr. ML Raja ji? Then let him start by the time this,
Raja
getting
ji,
so
please
much.
share your light.
आवाज कौन कर रहा है? ML Raja.
इनका ऑन है यहाँ स्पीकर, मतलब जिनका ऑन है.
Rajaji needs authorization to share his slide.
Sir, he is the Mr. Raja is co-host, so he doesn't need authorization.
Okay.
Okay, so
So who's speaking now, Ravi or Raja? I don't understand what
Ravi
is
ji,
happening.
Mr. Ravi ji.
Ravi
yeah,
ji.
but
Okay, but
I don't have the authorization to
hasn't-
share. I need that.
but he wants to share his screen. That's the
No,
problem.
I think Dr. Raja is still on the screen.
Yeah.
Sharing
Okay, so
screen.
can you speak, Dr. Raja? Can you speak now? We are now.
Can't hear
Can you
you.
hear
Dr.
us?
Raja, we still can't hear you. You have an audio problem.
Hello.
Now we can hear you.
Yes, yes, we can hear you now. Please go ahead.
No, it's Dr. Raja has gone off again. We can't hear you.
We can hear Dr. Raja. His slides are also visible on the screen. He should go ahead and proceed with this presentation.
Yeah, but his voice is not coming through. He is muted somehow.
He's not muted.
But then the audio is not working. That's the thing.
Dr. Raja, you have an audio problem.
Yeah, actually, Niraji, is there any coordinator? So they need to change. If I need to speak, they need to change this.
Yeah, there's
And then-
Siddharth is there. Siddharth, mera mute hai na? Unmute hai.
No.
Siddharth is there to call the number. Call the number, Siddharth.
Now I audible?
Yes, let him carry on now.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes, Dr. Raja, now start speaking, please.
Okay, shall I speak now? The
Yes,
movement.
Please start.
Okay, I am Dr. M.L. Raja. I personally thank Neera Madam, Draupadi Foundation and India Foundation. I am an eye surgeon from Tamil Nadu. I am Director Avinash. In this, I will discuss about the date of Mahabharata based on inscription and other evidences. First, I will want to discuss about the eye hole inscription of Pulikesi 2 of Western Chalukya of Badami, which mentions that after Mahabharata war, in 3735th year of Kali Yuga and 556th year of Sagayara. So we know.
Now I can't hear him.
That the Salivagana saga began in 78 Common Era. So this proves that the Kali Yuga began in 3101 BCE. And this inscription mentioned that Harsashiladitya was defeated at the hands of Pulikesi II, and many Chalukya inscriptions mention this incident. And one Chalukya inscription, Kaudam plate, mentioned it as second Nirupa Kaladita Samvatsara itself, that is Salivagana saga. And Harsashiladitya is contemporary to Chinese traveler Yuan Shuang, and Pallava kings Magendra Varman and Narasimha Varma were contemporaries to Pulikesi II as per quorum copper plates of Parameswara Varman and other inscriptions. Then coming to Anamala inscription, this is near Madurai in Tamil Nadu. It mentioned the date as Kali Yuga 3871. The king's name is Jadila Parandaga Pandya. His father Maravarman Rajasimha defeated Western Ganga king Shri Purusha and Badami Chalukya king Kirti Varma, and this Kirti Varman was in turn defeated by Rashtrakuta king. Pardon me, madam.
मैंने अपने लिए रखे थे जरा से उसी में से थोड़े से ले आते
Who had good relationship with King Nandivarman. May I audible now?
You are audible. Yes. Somebody please
Okay,
put
madam.
up
Okay,
your
madam.
mic. Somebody.
You're audible, Dr. Raja, please.
Somebody unmuted and they are talking, madam. That is the problem. I request all other participants to please unmute. Then coming to the Anamala inscription near Madurai in Tamil Nadu, it mentioned the date Kali Yuga 3871. The king's name is Jadila Parandaga Pandya. His father Maravarma Rajasimha defeated Western Ganga king Shri Purusha and Badami Chalukya king Kirti Varma. and Kirtivarman in turn was defeated by Rashtrakuta king Dandivarma, who had good relations with King Nandivarma II of Pallava. These are all as per the genealogy described in various copper plates of Chalukya, Pallava and other things. One Rashtrakuta inscription mentions the date as Sakanirupa Kala Atita Samvatsara itself. And this is especially based on the Velvikudi copper plates of Jadila Parandaga Pandya of Anemalai inscription. So this, based on all these inscriptions, we can conclude that Kirtivarman II of Chalukya Badami, who is fifth king from Pulikesi II, and Dandi Durga of Rashtrakuta, Nandivarma II of Pallava, and Maravarma Rajasimha Pandya, the father of King Jadila Parandaga of this Anemalai inscriptions, were contemporary. So Anemalai inscription date is Kali 3871, Aihole inscription date is 3735. So the difference is 136 years and 6 kings ruled in between. So average is 23 years. So it is acceptable. Thus the chronology of Pandya, Pallava, Ganga, Chalukya and Rashtrakuta kingdoms reveal that the regnal period of Pandya king Jadila Parantaka and Pulikesi II and their inscriptions were corroborative to each other and they are chronologically related. This is also for another 4 inscriptions which I will discuss. Thus, that is as per the genealogy described in these inscriptions, that is Kerad and Dioli, where Kala, Sakanirupa Kaladita Samvatsara, that is Salivagana Saka itself is mentioned. And this, as per this genealogy, the Parandaga Chola Chakravarti I and the Krishna III of Rashtrakuta kingdom. Krishna III is the 16th king from Pulikesi II, because Rashtrakuta took over the kingdom from Chalukya, and he is from 5th from the Jadila Parandaga Pandya Anemalai inscription, because Pallava kingdom was taken over by Chola kingdom. So they were contemporary. Parandaga Chola Chakravarti and Krishna III were contemporary, and King Sundara Chola and Uttama Chola were grandsons of Parandaga Chola Chakravarti. So this Gramam inscription, which is dated in Kali Yuga 4044, mentioned Kali days as 14,77,037. This is the inscription of Parandaga Chola Chakravarti. This is the inscription. You see, we can see the Kali Yuga mentioned here. And this Gramam inscription is 4044 Kali. Aihole is 3735 Kali. So the difference is 309 years. Thus 16 kings ruled 309 years. So each king is around 20 years. So it is acceptable. And this Sri Mushnam inscription of Sundara Chola Chakravarti, Kali date is 4060. And the difference between Aihole is 325 for 18 kings. So average is 18 years per king. And Uttama Chola inscription is Uyakondan, Tirumalai and Tiruvadai Marudur. The difference is from Aihole inscription 345 and 348. So 19 kings, 18 years. So it is also acceptable range. So this is the Sri Mushnam inscription, Kali Yuga 4060. This is the inscription where you can see the photo. I have used this photo on the front cover of my book, Kali Yuga Inscriptional Evidence. And this is Uyakondan Tirumalai inscription, Kali Yuga date is given and Saga date is given 901. So it is more authenticated. And this is Tiruvadai Marudur inscription where Kali date is given and 13th regnal era of Uttama Chola. So from all these inscriptions, we found that the Kali Yuga began in 3101 BCE. Based on the other era mentioned or the regnal period of these kings based on other inscriptions. Further, these 5 inscriptions, that is Anemalai, Gramam, Sri Mushnam, Uyakondan Tirumalai and Tiruvadai Marudur, are corroborative and interconnected with each other. Beyond that, it is also corroborative and interconnected with the Aihole inscription through continuity in terms of time, that is chronologically they are interrelated. Hence, they prove that Aihole inscription date is Kali 3735 is correct and Kali Yuga epoch is at 3101 BCE. As per Aihole inscription, Mahabharata war was fought before Kali Yuga epoch in 3101 BCE. That is the conclusion we can have. And this is Nidanpur copper plate inscription from Assam, Sylhet, now in Bangladesh. The king is Bhaskara Varma, the king of Kamarupa, and he mentioned his genealogy from King Naraka, who is contemporary to Sri Krishna and Satyabhama. From this we can say that Mahabharata is actual history, and this Bhagadatta, his son, fought with Arjuna and Mahabharata war, and his other genealogies, Pushpadatta, Vasaradatta. After that, 3,000 years had gone, during which various kings were ruled. After 3,000 years, these are all the kings ruled. So from this inscription, we can say that there is a gap of 3,000 years from regnal period of 16 to 17 kings, from Mahabharata war to King Bhaskara Varma period. And this is the Nidanpur copper plate inscription, Dubi copper plate inscription. And this Harsha Charita of Bhanabhatta clearly mentioned that this Bhaskara Varma of Kamarupa is contemporary to Harsha Siladitya. Yuan Swang in his writings and also the book Sui Ki, the Buddhist records, mention the same thing, that Harsha Siladitya and Bhaskara Varma are contemporary. So Bhaskara Varma is contemporary to Harsha Siladitya, Harsha Siladitya is contemporary to Pulikesi too, and Pulikesi's Aihole inscription is corroborated and interrelated to the 5 inscriptions in Tamil Nadu. So we can see that an inscription in Tamil Nadu is interrelated chronologically with an inscription in Assam. So everything is interrelated, interconnected. There is a famous saying by scientists, that is nuclear physicists, that there is an inseparable quantum interconnectedness between each and every particle in the universe. In the same way, in history, there is an inseparable chronological interconnectedness between each historical event in this holy nation. So that is the inference, because various dynasties not only have martial conflict, but there is also marital relationship, and for the same dynasty they have both martial conflict and marital relationship. So everything is interconnected, interrelated, interwoven. So based on this, you cannot push back or even forward a single event like date of Mahabharata war or date of Aihole inscription. That is the conclusion inference we can have from these inscriptions. This is the stone inscription at Sri Hanuman temple, Jaisalmer. It clearly mentioned that from Yudhishthira to Vikrama, the number of years is 3044. Yudhishthira to Salivagana is 3179 years. This is the inscription. I thank Dr. S.R. Bandarkar sir. In the same way, Jyotirvidabharanam of Kalidasa, and also these 4 ancient astronomical texts clearly mention the same years, 3044 years from Yudhishthira to Vikrama, and 3179 years from Yudhishthira to Salivagana. So everything is interrelated, interconnected, and it is multidisciplinary and multi-dimensional view we should have. This is the Bhattara inscription in Sylhet district, Bangladesh. The king is Govinda Kesava Deva. It is mentioned that it is 4151 years from era of the first king of Pandava dynasty, that is Pandava Kula Adipada Abda. The regnal period of King Govinda Rana Kesava is 990 to 1040 CE. So based on this, we can derive fix the Mahabharata war from 3161 BCE to 3111 BCE. And I have written a book that is Kali Yuga Inscriptional Evidence, detailing 436 inscriptions that were dated in Kali Yuga. They were in almost all the states of our nation, and almost all the languages, and almost all the dynasties. From Jammu Kashmir to down south Tamil Nadu, from Gujarat to Assam and Bengal, they are distributed, and all these inscriptions uniformly mention and show that the 436 inscriptions prove Kali Yuga began in 3101 BCE. There is a foreign evidence also. I will discuss in the next session. And from this, we can conclude that Kali Yuga epoch is 3101 BCE very strongly. So from this we can calculate the Mahabharata war date year. That is, Mahabharata war was at the tail end of Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga was at doorsteps as per Adi, Sabdavana and other Parva and Mahabharata war. There are 9 references for this, and the Arya Bhatta, Viruddha Garga, Varahi Migara, Abul Fasal, Ibn Mubarak in his Aini Akbari, and Sir Alexander Cunningham, Henry Thomas Cole Brooks' writings clearly mention that Mahabharata war happened before Kali Yuga epoch, and 6 Purana mention that Kali Yuga began when Sri Krishna left the world, and Sri Krishna is the prime personality in the Mahabharata war. So Mahabharata war should be before Kali Yuga beginning. So there is a gap of 36 years after Mahabharata war, the Kali Yuga began. So Mahabharata text in Mausala and Sri Parva clearly mention that there is a gap of 36 plus years. I will explain why 36 plus years in the next session. And with that, I conclude that Kali Yuga epoch is 3101 BCE per 436, and I have found 27 more, so 463 inscriptions, and based on internal evidence and external evidence, Mahabharata war was 36 years plus years before beginning of Kali Yuga in 3101 BCE. I can allot at the maximum of 10 years, so 36 to 46 years before Kali Yuga epoch is the date of Mahabharata war. So hence it is concluded that Mahabharata war was fought in the years from 3147 to 3137 BCE. This can be further narrowed down precisely to a single year through other events found within the text of Mahabharata war, and I will detail it in the next rounds. I personally thank one and all to listen me patiently, even though I have a problem initially. You all waited patiently, so I thank you very much for all who waited patiently and listened me. Thank you. We will meet in the next session. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद राजा जी। राजा जी का
थैंक यू।
प्रतिपाद्य जो है वो शिलालेखों पर आधारित था। किलहार्ड ने साउथ इंडिया के बहुत सारे इंस्क्रिप्शन का संकलन किया और जिस ए होल अभिलेख के आधार पर सारे आर्गुमेंट रखे जा रहे हैं उसमें 34 श्लोक थे और 2 श्लोक की मीनिंग पर विद्वानों में विवाद रहा। चंद्रकांत वाली जी हो या शिव कुमार गुप्त हो, राम वृक्ष सिंह हो और भगवत दत्त जी हो, कीलहार्न जी खुद हो, गुरुदत्त वैद्य हो, इन सभी लोगों के अलग अलग मत रहे हैं। अभी मैं वो जो 2 श्लोक हैं उनको मैं बाद में आपको बताऊंगा। अभी
मैडम विल यू प्लीज एक्सप्लेन मी इन इंग्लिश मैडम।
अभी मैं एन रवि जी को
आफ्टर रवि's presentation.
Okay madam, thank you madam.
Presentation we will explain it sir.
Yeah Raja, if you have
एन रवि जी को अब मैं एन रवि जी को आमंत्रित करता हूं जो इसरो में काम करते हैं और वैदिक सरस्वती पर आप काम करते, सरस्वती रिवर प्रोजेक्ट पर आपने काम किया है और महाभारत और उसको ऑनलाइन करने में भी आप बहुत काम करते हैं। अब एन रवि जी को आमंत्रित।
But thanks everybody. But I have
Raja ji, please mute yourself.
Yes madam, I have muted madam.
Raja, please give me the control because I still see this your PPT there.
Please remove this.
Because I don't have the permission to share also.
Can you hear me? Mr. Raja, please move your screen out, please, Mr. Raja. Can you hear me? Mr. Raja, please move your screen. ओके, क्या बोली सिद्धार्थ नहीं उठा रहा?
नहीं हो गया सबका हो गया।
कहाँ उनका कहाँ जिजित के स्क्रीन ही नहीं आ रही है
क्योंकि ये शेयर कर रहे हैं ना एक वक्त पे एक ही।
I have no control to share the screen.
Dr. Raja, please move out. Now you can share. Now you can share.
Yeah. I can now share.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so first of all, many thanks. Thanks for Neeraji and all the participants and all the researchers and scholar, and um, thanks for the Adhyaksha. And just a few words. So this particular chronology conference was something that we have been planning for a long time, and I was with Neeraji to have kind of a conference. Even if there is a corona, we can actually join together in online and do it. So finally, I'm happy that it is materialized, and the online medium is not so bad. Technical issues, so we are getting some time lapsing. A lot of time has gone, so I just start sharing the screen and presentation. Thanks very much. You are able to see the screen? If you can.
Yes, we can. Please carry on.
Yeah, thank you. This particular session basically primarily literary and epigraphic evidences for this Mahabharata war. So we have as a debating as a chronologist, we have four great chronologists, Veer, Arya and Manish Pandit, and we have got Ramamurthy and Ashok Bhatnagar. They will be discussing this tomorrow. So I'm as part of my role, I will be looking at some epigraphic evidence, some literary evidence from Mahabharata, then Vishnu Purana and Vayu Purana, as well as some other Puranas. But before that, being one of the person who was focused in doing the comparative analysis of different dates of the chronologist, this particular slide, you can see now what is the current state of different dates that has been currently active. माफ कीजिएगा, मेरा हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है, लेकिन I will talk in English. So on the right hand side, you have this dates, which I can call as 5K date. That is the dates beyond 5000 BC. So we have a Privi Vartak date and then Nileshok's date here. And then you have a clustering of so many dates at 3000 BC. And you have, and those dates I call 3K dates, because all of them are 3000 BC plus, and between 3200 and 3000 BC. Then you have 1K, 2K date in which this many clustering of dates are presented. Dr. B.B. Lal has given a date which is based on archaeology, and so you can see here in this list. So this is what the chronology debate that is about. Since there are so many dates, we wanted to have a consensus between the dates, and we need to go with the best date, or we'll go with a range of dates which are possible so that you can actually give it as an input for our textbooks. So to that, I'll just move to the next slide. So here, this is a consolidation of the kings. If you can see the full screen and nothing is blocking you. Is there anything blocking? It is not, right? So you can see there are 30 kings which are solidly mentioned as descendants of Yudhishthira. Basically, it is a descendant of Arjuna, but Abhimanyu, he is the son of Arjuna. So when you look at the descendancy, then it is from Yudhishthira to Abhimanyu, Parikshit, Janamejaya, Shataniga, and Ashwamedha. And then you have Asima Krishna, Nichakra. So many kings up to the 30th king Kshamaka, who is contemporary to the Mahapadmananda. And here Dr. B.B. Lal also, like in his books, he has mentioned during the time of Nichakra, the Hastinapura capital was shifted from to Kaushambi. So this is the information that you more or less get from all the scanning through multiple Puranas. This number of kings are very solid. And this small block here, these up to 6 kings mentioned in Mahabharata. So up to Ashwamedha Datta, you have mentioned in Mahabharata. remaining all the kings, you'll get it from the Purana, starting from Vishnu Purana onwards to Vayu. So this is our major data that is connecting the Mahabharata era, that is represented by Yudhishthira and Arjuna, to Kshamaka, who is a contemporary to the Mahapadmananda, a historical king. And now, okay, I'll just move to this slide. So here it's again the same list, but I have found out like this is just a kind of an estimation of what should be the generation gap that we have to assign to these kings, so that your entire 30 kings can have some kind of total number of years elapsed between them. So if you analyze Mahabharata, the different generations, different people have different lifetime. So some of them like Bhishma, Vyasa, they are mentioned as long lifetime, and this Yudhishthira, Dhritarashtra, they have a very normal kind of lifetime, like 60 to 90, 95 years, like that. Then some others like Vichitra, Virya, Pandu, Parikshit, they have very short lifespan. Vichitra, Virya died around 25 years of age, Pandu maybe 35, and Parikshit very clearly mentioned as 60 years he has lived. And Abhimanyu is mentioned inherently, we can infer that he has lived around 16 to 20 years, or maybe 22 years. So this is the kind of the ages. So it is not very good to rely on these ages. So one other parameter I have taken is the generation gap. That is the average age of succession. So for example, if a king is ruling, he will be getting maybe between 25 to 35 years. It is true even now, not only king or any or normal people, the average age in which they get a son is around son or daughter, they are around 25 to 35 years. Maybe some of them 45, like that. But this is the best thing we can take. Even otherwise in Vishnu Purana, I will show that this is more or less this particular the generation gap or age of succession is coming correctly into this area. And other researchers have used other like parameters like average age of rulership. So I have seen Dr. Bilal in his book, he is using the average age of rulership of 15 to 20 years. And some of others average lifespan, but it is because you may be seeing some 200 years, 100 years, etc. as lifespan. So we cannot take it as a realistic data. So if you look at this, you have a minimum of 750 years for the entire generation. That is 25 into 30. And if you take an average, it is 900 years. And if it is the 35 into 30, that is, you get 1050 years. So totally it is around 1000 years. That is the best thing because it's all approximations. So around 1000 years is a good statement. Now, if I go ahead, now this slide is a summary slide. So you have a Puranic analysis summary. And I have looked at not only Vishnu Purana, but multiple Puranas and the genealogies of not only the Kuru lineage, which is Yudhishthira Kshamaka, but also Magadha lineage, Ikshvaku lineage. So there is a variation of 30 to 40 generation. So sometimes you get 30, sometimes maximum you get 40, maybe 42 also maybe there. So if you add this into calculation, you get a minimum of 1100 years for this this particular entire lineage or the period of Yudhishthira from Kshamaka. Similarly, maximum 1850 years. So you have a Yudhishthira Kshamaka generation gap that is minimum 1100 or maximum you can stretch it to 1850. I mean 100 BC to 1850. I mean it's actually time axis you get it like this. So minimum is 750, maximum is 1400 years. So that translated into time axis you get this like this 1100 to 800 BC. So these are the basic assumptions. So all of these are challenged. For example, Vedavirarya has challenged this particular dating of Mahapadmananda. But generation gap, more or less, nobody has challenged that much. But if you go by the king rulership average, it will be like 15 to 20. But generation gap, 25 to 35 years is very healthy. And then Kshamaka contemporary of Mahapadmananda, but this is not, nobody is refuted. It is there in many of the references. So if you look at that, you have so many dates coming in line in this particular range, but that we will discuss more in the tomorrow's session. And these are one by one, each Purana I have taken it. So in Vishnu Purana, you have, apart from this particular list of kings, Vishnu Purana is a little more forthright in telling that 1015 years is the number of years between birth of Parikshit and to the coronation of Mahapadmananda. So this is a direct statement, so you don't have to compute any average lifespan and multiply it with the total number of generations, etc. It's directly given like this. So Vishnu Purana in the book number 4, 24th chapter, it is mentioned. So if you go by this, the Parikshit will be somewhere around here. And everybody knows in Mahabharata, Parikshit is born 1 year after Kurukshetra war. And Yudhishthira was around 50 to 60 years when the Kurukshetra war was occurring. So I'm saying more or less Parikshit age is also the same as the Kurukshetra war age and the age of Yudhishthira. So it comes in. Of course, this is the number like 1365 BC to 1465 BC, subject to these basic assumptions, basis or assumptions. So these are challengeable assumptions. So, but if you go with this, these are the dates that's coming closer: Ramamurti and Iyengar. And then Vayu Purana, there are 3 versions: extant Vayu Purana version and Matsya Purana, there are 5 versions. This generation gap, maybe this is similar to the eye hole inscription confusion that this 1050 is rendered as. So there may be there is an uncertainty of 15, whether it is 15 or 50. So then if you include that into the chronology, you get this date. There is no much changes, such as 35 years of difference it will cause. Same assumptions you get. These are the dates coming closer. And there is one version of Matsya Purana, which again there is could be like again a translation or not translation. This is an error. 15 here, 1050 here, again 1500. So it is basically a communication information kind of information distortion. This typically happens for any information after 1000 years. There will be some distortions. So that kind of a distortion. So 1500 here. So we are not sure it is 1500 or 1050 or 1015. But Vishnu Purana is a little more robust in the integrity of the data. So we have to, if you go give a weightage, we have to give it to Vishnu Purana. But this is also a date traditionally arrived. This is directly communicated to us, so we need to take it. And if you go by that, these are the dates coming in. And you have this dates, Mohan Gupta and Ashok Bhatnagar coming closer to this area. Same assumptions. And if you go here, Satyartha Prakash Granth is there. It is authored in 1872 CE. Again, just like Vishnu Purana, the Satyartha Prakash Granth is giving 1770 years. That is 1770 years actually giving as the gap between Yudhishthira and Kshamaka. Straight they are giving. It is even giving the number of years, months and days. The accuracy is shown. And there are some discrepancies because it's mentioning 30 kings, but giving so 30 kings, there are the average it goes to 60 years. So 60 years of generation gap is considered at the very extreme end. We may not be able to accept it. Or then it will leads to you have to hypothesize missing generations here, so that the generation gap will be somewhere close to 25, 35 or 45 maximum. It can go 40. 60 years for everybody. Every king will get a king after 60 years. That is very unlikely. So that is one problem with the Satyartha Prakash. But even we are including that into our analysis, and you get these dates 2120 BC to 2220 BC. And there are no dates falling in the range, but both the 1K, 2K date and 3K dates are equidistant. And again, these are the assumptions. And if you get all these different whatever I have discussed in the previous slide, Yudhishthira, Kshamaka, that average, minimum, maximum, the gap between Yudhishthira and Kshamaka based on 30 kings, or directly go by Vishnu Purana statement, or go by Vayu Purana statement, or Vayu Purana and Matsya Purana statement, or single variant of this Matsya Purana. So whichever way you look at, these are the kind of ranges coming. And if you consolidate all the different ranges, then you will get this 1100 and 1100 BC minima and 2220 BC maxima for the range, the very big range of the Kurukshetra war. any of this period, you can have the Kurukshetra war happening. And you can see so many dates are coming in this particular area. So again, the assumptions are this. And here is what I have found very recently. I have been investigating Sri Veer Arya's chronology revision suggestion. And see, I'm actually, because Veer is presenting tomorrow, that particular, how he is actually pushing the chronology. So I am taking only the summary of it. So based on his chronology revision proposal, around 1,382 years, you need to push of entire our history. So that means the Mahabhatmananda, our sheet anchor, everything changed. So I have just added this 1,382 years to the established, currently accepted date of 350 BC to 450 BC. If you take this chronology revision, it becomes 1732 BC and okay, there is some error, but it is 1830. So it's just an addition of this 1,382 on this 350 and 450. So you see a 1,000-year push or 1,300-year push. So there is no big calculation. This entire block here, it will shift and it will reach here. And if it reach here, then all these dates, you see, like all the 3K dates becomes like a healthy date for Kurukshetra war. So then in this Vedavirya date is there, ML Raja's date is there, Manish Ji's date is there, and then we'll have a debate between these two dates, Vedavirya's and Manish Pandit tomorrow. So I'm just in a neutral fashion, I am just saying that these are the two possibilities. And finally, there is nothing to substantiate anything for the 5K date. That is also I need to tell. And this is another slide, just to give a understanding of the two kinds of chronology. I have, so one is based on the Vedavirya's chronology, that is giving a push of 1,382 years. And there is a Buddhist tradition independently, but it is basically, it's not a very well-researched kind of a tradition where you get all the inscriptional evidence, everything corroborated. Where you have a Buddha's date, which is 2,420, much more bigger change than this 1865 BC that Vedavirya is proposing. So I just coincidentally mentioning there is another one also like this, which is pushing entire chronology from to 1937 years, but I have not considered it. But no, if this is the situation which will happen if you consider that Buddhist tradition of extreme case, but it's all benefit will be to the 3K dates. For even if you have this is the largest I have seen anybody telling about any chronology division. So I just this is the one last set, but primarily current my interest is the Vedavirya areas like chronology pushing of 1,382 years. So I as a conclusion, the chronologists who are giving dates on this range, the 3K dates, as well as this 1K, 2K dates, they are all my contacts, my connections. So I wish both the groups, so either this way or this way, it could be one of these possibilities that we have, either this or either this. So that we will find out tomorrow. And I wish all the best for all the chronologists who have agreed for this particular discussion. And I thank them very well. And I thank the Adhyaksha, Niraji, and Bibilal and Rajesh Lal who are listening to this. Just I thank them. To all the participants and all the listeners, and to the chronologists themselves, Vedavirya and Ashok Bhatnagar, Manish Pandit, Ramurthy, and M. Raja, who was talked before, is also a chronologist, but he has gone to the inscriptional part of the session. So many thanks to everybody.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर रवि जी। अब मैं इसको परिचर्चा को ओपन करता हूं और हर जितने प्रेजेंटेशन हुए उन पर आप अपनी जिज्ञासा उपस्थित कर सकते हैं।
मैं अजय भारद्वाज।
जी अजय जी, आप किससे प्रश्न करना चाहते हैं सर?
मैं व्यापक रूप में प्रश्न करना चाहता हूँ, किसी व्यक्ति विशेष से नहीं।
जी
सबसे पहले तो मैं सबको बधाई देता हूँ कि बहुत ही वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव एंड वेरी इंटेलेक्चुअल डिस्कशन विच हैज टेकन प्लेस। सब लोग बहुत बहुत हार्दिक रूप से बधाई सब लोगों को, और नीरज जी को स्पेशली फॉर ऑर्गेनाइजिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ डिस्कशन एंड सेमिनार। सारा ये वक्तव्य देखते देखते मैंने थोड़ा सा इंटरवेंशन इसलिए किया था कि मेरी भावना सिर्फ एक ही थी कि काल और विचार, इसको हमें कैसे लेना चाहिए। महाभारत जब लिखा गया महर्षि व्यास जी ने, या रामायण जब सृजन हुआ, तो कहीं किसी नक्षत्र का यदा कदा उल्लेखन है तो वो किसी और संदर्भ में है। हमने समय को कभी निर्धारित या डिफाइन परिभाषित करने का प्रयास नहीं किया। हमने वेद कब लिखे, ना हमारे लेखकों ने जानने की कोशिश, बताने की कोशिश की, ना हमारे लेखकों ने बताने की कोशिश की, ना हमारे जिज्ञासाओं ने ये जानने की कोशिश की कि वेद कब लिखे गए। ये जो हम काल संक्रमण में पड़ गए हैं कि कौन सी चीज कितने वक्त पे हुई है, ये हमें विचार से दूर ले जा रही है। मैं सभी आप सबको बहुत बहुत प्रणाम करके निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि हमें समय के साथ नहीं बंधना चाहिए। हमें नहीं जानने की जरूरत कि महाभारत कब हुआ है, हमें नहीं जानने की जरूरत रामायण कब हुई है, हमें नहीं जानने की जरूरत क्या कब हुआ है। हमें जो
Ajay ji, I appreciate, we appreciate your intervention, but actually this is only for questions, and we have come with a particular purpose of getting our history into a chronological structure. So the question of philosophy is not to be discussed here, please. And this is the problem that we have faced, that our texts are only taken as philosophy and literature. So may I request the chair to ask specific questions related to the dating of the Mahabharata war?
जी
Thank you.
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन।
मैं बात कर सकती हूँ?
जी जी मैडम। अजय जी, हम आप
पहले मैं ये निवेदन करना चाहती हूँ कि मैंने फॉर्मेट का ध्यान रखते हुए पहले एक राउंड माना उसको। फर्स्ट राउंड में मैंने 8, 9, 10 मिनट्स लिए और सिर्फ प्रस्तावित रूप में वैदिक साहित्य को बताया। उसके आगे, क्योंकि ये आपने बताया था टेक्सचुअल रेफरेंसेस में बात की जानी है, तो उसके आगे दूसरे जो ग्रंथ आते हैं उनमें रामायण आता है, के बाद महाभारत आता है। इसलिए मैंने अब महाभारत की बात पर वहां के रुक गई कि सेकंड राउंड में लूंगी। तो एक तो मुझे ये बताना था, जो ऑनरेबल यहाँ पर पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं उनको भी और पैनलिस्ट को भी, और अगर मुझे इजाजत मिले तो मैं अब टेक्सचुअल रेफरेंस में महाभारत की बात करना चाहूंगी।
मैडम, अभी एक प्रश्न आएंगे तो उसमें आप वो अपनी बात कह दीजिएगा। कुछ आपको लगेगा कुछ कहना है तो प्रश्न के ही किसी के उत्तर में आप बोल दीजिएगा। और मैं अब आमंत्रित करता हूं, किसी की और जिज्ञासा हो, कुछ कमेंट हो तो संक्षेप में अपनी बात कहें। देखिए, इस पूरी परिचर्चा में 3 आधारों पर चर्चा हुई है। एक तो कुछ इंस्क्रिप्शन को आधार बनाया गया, दूसरा रवि जी ने पुराणों के आधार पर, महाभारत के श्लोकों के आधार पर अपनी बात रखी है, और आदरणीय हमारे प्रथम वक्ता ने जो ज्योतिषीय जो संवत्सर का वर्णन है प्राचीन ग्रंथों में, विशेषकर कश्मीर की परंपरा में उनके आधार पर जो काल निर्धारण किया है, इन 3 दृष्टियों से हुआ है। तो आप और अपनी जिज्ञासा रखना चाहते तो रखें।
मैं डॉक्टर शुक्ला, मैं ये पूछना चाहती थी डॉक्टर शशि जी से, क्योंकि इन्होंने क्रोनोलॉजिकल डायनेस्टीज पे बहुत काम किया है, कि वो संक्षिप्त में अगर बता दें कि डायनेस्टिक कैलकुलेशंस के हिसाब से कितना टाइम है महाभारत वॉर का, क्या समय हो सकता है, क्योंकि उन्होंने इस पे बहुत काम किया है। अगर डॉक्टर शशि ये 2 मिनट में अगर बता दे तो।
अनम्यूट करना होगा, बोलिए शशि जी को।
अनम्यूट करिए मैडम, अपने को अनम्यूट करिए शशि जी।
उनको बोलिए।
मैं हिंदी में ही बोल रही हूँ, जिससे थोड़ा जल्दी हो जाएगा।
हाँ, बिल्कुल
जब
बिल्कुल।
हम टेक्स्ट की बात करते हैं तो हमें आगे और पीछे के टेक्स्ट देखने पड़ेंगे और उनका क्या संबंध है, उनमें उनकी क्या बात हो रही है। तो वेद की जब मैंने बात की, उसके बाद ही आएंगे इतिहास ग्रंथ। और हमारे जो प्रारंभ में जो मुख्य अतिथि आए थे, उन्होंने भी इस बात पर बल दिया था कि इतिहास हमारे यहाँ है। तो ये इतिहास शब्द का प्रयोग ब्राह्मण ग्रंथ में हुआ। उसके बाद हमने बहुत अच्छे से महाभारत और रामायण और पुराण के संदर्भ में एक कोटेशन है, इतिहास पुराणाभ्याम वेदम सम्मुख ब्रण्येत। एक यहाँ पर आदरणीय कोई है, वो भी ये बात बोल रहे हैं कि वेद में जो बात कही गई थी उसको समझाने के लिए इतिहास यानी कि इतिहास ग्रंथ यानी कि रामायण और महाभारत लिखे गए। दीज आर आवर हिस्टोरिकल टेक्स्ट, they refer history of our ancestors, how they live, how they lead their life according to the dharma, and the time is not important. Even then we can calculate time, no doubt we can calculate time on the basis of language, linguistics. So because Vedas are in Vedic Sanskrit and these texts are in Sanskrit governed by the Panini, so we have to think about all these things. Then Ramayana, then Mahabharata, because everyone knows Ramayana is not referring any character of Mahabharata, while Mahabharata is referring the whole story of Rama. So then again, the second important point to be noted is there are 3 versions of Mahabharata. And
Dr. Shashi,
to that,
Dr.
Jaya Bharat Mahabharata.
Dr. Shashi,
Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama.
Dr. Shashi, we are not discussing the text Mahabharata.
I know.
We are only wanting to know that
I am only giving a reference only. There is Jaya, there is Bharat, there is Mahabharata.
No, we are asking
so
only the chronology. We are only talking of the dynasty.
So that war should be before Jaya.
Madam Shashi,
it means war should be before Jaya. So you are dating war, Mahabharat war. So it should be before Mahabharat. Is the main story of Mahabharat.
शशि मैडम, अभी हम लोग टेक्स्ट की हिस्ट्री के बारे में चर्चा नहीं कर रहे। अभी चर्चा हम
उसके बिना होगा नहीं ना, उसके बिना होगा नहीं। मेरा
Yes,
यही
please,
कहना
Dr.
है।
Shashi wants to say something. Dr. Shashi Bala wants to say
हाँ
something.
जी, शशि जी।
शशि बाला जी बताएं। हाँ, yes please, Dr. Shashi Bala जी प्लीज बोलिए। कहाँ?
शशि बाला जी नहीं थी, रमा मेहता जी बोलना चाहती।
रमा मेहता जी, अच्छा हाँ बोले।
रमा मेहता जी बोलिए।
हाँ, मैं मेहरा रमा हूँ। प्रणाम, आप सबको प्रणाम
जी।
और बहुत अच्छा व्याख्यान मिला सारे स्पीकर्स से और अलग अलग तरीके के उनके रिसर्च से। मेरा एक प्रश्न है कि हमारे डेट्स का तो प्रमाण आपको नक्षत्र में मिल जाते हैं, पर ये ब्रिटिश, ये जो अंग्रेजों का डेट है उसका क्या बेस है?
ब्रिटिश लोगों ने तो एक उनका कोई बेस नहीं है। जो पहली किताब लिखी थी हिस्ट्री ऑफ संस्कृत लिटरेचर मैक्स मूलर ने, उन्होंने तो 1500 ईसा पूर्व में ही सारे ग्रंथ रख दिए थे, तो उनका कोई बेस नहीं था। और उन्होंने जो लिंग्विस्टिक आधार पर बात कही, लेकिन वो लोग लिंग्विस्टिक आधार पर बात कहे जो उन मंत्रों का उच्चारण तक नहीं कर सकते, वो समझ नहीं सकते कि इसके वर्ब क्या है, इसके प्रोनाउन क्या है। वो बता रहे थे कि उपनिषद की लैंग्वेज, महाभारत की लैंग्वेज इससे मैच करती है। उनके पास कोई एविडेंस नहीं था, वो केवल लिंग्विस्टिक आधार पर और एक हिस्टोरिकल लिंग्विस्टिक्स, ग्रीक, लैटिन और पुरानी जर्मन और रशियन, इनको लेकर के एक भाषा वैज्ञानिक अध्ययन किया उन्होंने, और उस आधार पर उन लोगों ने एक कंक्लूजन पर आए, और उसमें भी बहुत सारे परिवर्तन होते रहे, लेकिन वो आज सिद्धांत स्वीकृत नहीं है। हमारे यहाँ जो ये इन विषयों पर जो विमर्श हुआ है, ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, अनेक ढंग से उसको विचार किया गया। मैं अन्य जिज्ञासा के लिए लोगों को आमंत्रित करता हूँ।
डॉक्टर शुक्ला, मैं आपको जिस एक बात बताना चाहती हूँ,
पूछने का तात्पर्य इसलिए था कि अजय जी जो पहले अजय कुमार जी जो बोल रहे थे हमारे को कि ये सब चीजों की जरूरत नहीं है, उनके लिए
डॉक्टर
अजय जी का जो प्रश्न था वो ये एक दूसरा है। उन्होंने, मैक्स मुलर ने एक लेक्चर दिया था बहुत बाद में, वो व्हाट कैन इंडिया टीच अस, तो उसमें एक प्रश्न आया था कि वेद का पीरियड क्या होना चाहिए। तो उन्होंने कहा वेद का पीरियड कब से डिसाइड करूं, वह तो ओरल टेक्स्ट था, जब पहली बार पांडुलिपि में आया तब डिसाइड करूं, या पहली बार छपा तब वो डिसाइड करूं। ओरल टेक्स्ट का डेटिंग, कैसे टेक्स्ट की डेटिंग और उसमें जो हिस्टोरिकल वर्णन है उसकी डेटिंग, तो डेटिंग का क्रम भिन्न भिन्न है, इसलिए एक मत उस पर नहीं आता है। इसीलिए भिन्न भिन्न दृष्टियों से हम इस पर विचार करते हैं। कोई अन्य प्रमाण लेता है।
हाँ।
तो जी
डॉक्टर शुक्ला, आप जरा ध्यान रखिएगा कि इसका जो कंक्लूडिंग हमें रिमार्क्स उनसे आने हैं, डॉक्टर बालमुकुंद पांडे जी से, हमको उनका सुनना बहुत जरूरी है, तो उनके लिए थोड़ा पर्याप्त समय रखिएगा प्लीज। हाँ,
तो और कोई जिज्ञासा हो आपकी तो बताएं, किसी की है? जी
जी मैं
हेलो,
हाँ, बताएं सर।
श्री
अशोक जी,
श्री वेद आर्या के लिए है मेरा प्रश्न।
जी।
आपने बताया कि महाभारत में जो कैलेंडर यूज हुआ है दैट इज बेस्ड ऑन वेदांग ज्योतिष, एंड वेदांग ज्योतिष itself mentions the position of winter solstice in Dhanishta nakshatra, which the time comes to around 1320, because these are based on astronomical calculations. So how do you reconcile this?
नमस्कार अशोक जी, आपका प्रश्न बहुत उचित है, लेकिन इसके लिए जो है जो क्रोनोलॉजी का जो फ्रेमवर्क है, क्योंकि वेदांग ज्योतिष में क्या लिखते हैं, कालज्ञानम प्रवक्ष्यामि लगधस्य महात्मनः। सो जो वेदांग ज्योतिष आज उपलब्ध है वो लगध महामुनि ने जब कहा था उसको जो है रिप्रोड्यूस किया गया है प्रणम्य शिरसा शुचि। तो शुचि नाम का व्यक्ति इसको प्रस्तुत कर रहा है और वो कह रहे हैं स्यात् तदादि युगम स्यात्। तो वो एक प्राचीन काल में कभी उस परिस्थिति के बारे में बता रहा जब धनिष्ठा नक्षत्र में जो है ये उदगयन की बात हो रही है। ठीक है, तो ये जो है कई बार जो है ना कि उदगयन जो है ऑटोमनल इक्विनोक्स से भी प्रारंभ करते थे और फिर उत्तरायण वो वाला। तो आप अगर वराह मिहिर देखेंगे वो खुद भी करें कि कभी प्राचीन काल में रहा होगा। अगर उनके जीवन काल से 1000 वर्ष में ही होता तो वो आराम से बता सकते थे। वस्तुतः ये वैदिक युग में वेदांग ज्योतिष था, उसको बाद में महाभारत काल से पहले जो है कुछ दिन पहले किसी ने जो है इसको रिकम्पाइल किया है एज ए ऋग्वेद वेदांग ज्योतिष। तो हम जो यहाँ फिक्स करते हैं 1384 वो डेट करेक्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि ये स्यात् कह रहे हैं वो एक प्राचीन काल में।
And this could apply to almost all the ancient texts which had the oral tradition, that they were not written at a given date.
Yes,
they came down as doctrines or as principles.
क्योंकि ना हमें ये देखना पड़ेगा पूरे महाभारत में 5 वर्ष के वेदांग ज्योतिष का कैलेंडर का प्रयोग है। तो उससे पहले भी अगर हम देखेंगे सारे ब्राह्मण ग्रंथों में सब में भी ये युगों की परिवत्सर, ये 5 वर्ष के युग का, इवन वैदिक युग से लेके 5 वर्ष का। तो ये जो है हमें केवल वेदांग ज्योतिष को 1300 बीसी के आसपास लेकर रखना, उससे पूरी भारत की सारी क्रोनोलॉजी, फिर महाभारत उसके बाद ही लिखा, उससे पहले हमके कैलेंडर का ज्ञान नहीं था। तो क्या वेदों में भी जैसे दीर्घतमा मामतेयो जुजुर्वान दशमे युगे, तो वो युग कैलेंडर के प्रयोग कर रहे 5 वर्ष के युग, कि वो 50 वर्ष के आयु में जो है उनके बाल सफेद हो गए थे, जैसे जुजुर्वान जो शब्द है। तो ये, और सारे आयतरे ब्राह्मण में भी, सारे ब्राह्मण ग्रंथों में 5 वर्ष के युग का है। तो इसलिए ये 1380 फिक्स करना वेदांग ज्योतिष का एक कालक्रम, भारतीय कालक्रम के साथ एक अन्याय होगा। तो इसलिए मैंने उसको कहा। धन्यवाद।
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है टू डॉक्टर वेदवीर आर्या जी।
जी
वेदवीर जी, आपका ने जो अभी तक जो रीजनिंग दी है, दैट हैज गॉट लॉट ऑफ वेट, एंड इन दिस कंटेक्स्ट आई वाज रीडिंग वन अनदर बुक which is Kavalya Darshan by Yogi Yukteswar Maharaj, written in 2020. Now, his argument of Yuga cycle is based on the precession of the earth, and this precession phenomenon, as all astronomy people will vouch for, is it is fixed. All our things which are shifting, which is 1 degree for 72 years and all that. So I believe that these astronomical facts will get you more closer to the actual dates. Now, as per him, the last cycle which started when the autumnal equinox was pointing to in the Aries, that is our galactic center, and into the Revati planet in 11,501 BCE. Now, as per his Yuga cycle, now Chaturthi has got Chatur Yuga has got 4,800 years, and Treta has got 3,600, Dwapar 2,400, like that. So now, if you calculate as per that, the Dwapar is from the Treta was from 6701 to 3101 BCE. That is 3101. As per that also, the end of Treta is at 3101 BCE. So now I don't know when Krishna died or when he was born, but if Mahabharata, if Kali Yuga began at his death, then it is 3101 BCE. That's the start of Kali Yuga. And as per this Kavalya Darshan also, it is the start of Kali Yuga. Now, if Mahabharata took place 36 years before his death, then the date comes to 3137 BCE. So I would urge you, because I don't have so much of knowledge. I am a retired defense officer from the Navy, and since we do astronavigation, we get into astronomy in some little bit of detail, and we are able to appreciate this astronomy quite a bit, the precision and these equinoxes, etc., etc. So I am of the firm belief that if we go by these conjunction of planets which occur on fixed dates, then we will be able to arrive at a better date. So I would request you and urge you to take this also into account. Thank you.
धन्यवाद धनकर साहब जी। I think आप नेवी में हैं, मैं भी आजकल रक्षा मंत्रालय में ही हूँ। So
I retired in 2016 as a Commodore.
So actually, I'm looking after naval acquisition in the acquisition wing presently.
Oh, that's great.
I'm from the Defense Account Service.
Okay.
वो छोड़ दे, ये ना जो आपने जो एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल एविडेंस कहा है, युक्तेश्वर जी ने जो विषय लिया है, वो उनका है ना एक प्रेसेशन बेस्ड एक स्पेक्युलेटिव थियरी है कि इस तरह का युगों की होना चाहिए। मैं जो है जा रहा हूँ वैदिक वेदों से लेकर के महाभारत युग तक जितने टेक्स्ट है उसमें युगों का किस तरीके से उसके अंदर विवरण आया, तो उसके बेस पर और एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल डेटिंग के आधार पर हमारा जो इतिहास है ना लगभग 14,500 बीसी तक जाता है, लगभग आज से 16 से लेकर 18,000 वर्षों तक का पुराना इतिहास है। तो वो होता है, लेकिन सबसे पहले हमको कैसे निर्धारित करें कि कौन सा युग कब स्टार्ट हुआ, तो उसके लिए हमें देखना पड़ेगा कि वैदिक युग में क्या था, 5 वर्ष का युग था, और 5 वर्ष के युग का ही एक चतुर्युग लेंगे तो 20 वर्ष का चतुर्युग होता था। फिर जब सूर्य सिद्धांत लिखा गया, सूर्य सिद्धांत लिखा गया 6778 बीसी। क्यों मैं ये कह रहा हूं, मयासुर क्या करे, मयासुर ने कृतयुगांत जो अभी जो चल रहा 7वें मनवंतर के 28वें कृतयुग के अंत में लिखा, और वो कह रहे हैं कि एरीज मेष राशि में सारे ग्रहों का एक कंजंक्शन है चैत्र शुक्ल प्रतिपदा।
ओके,
वो एग्जैक्टली डेट आता है 22 फरवरी 6778 बीसी। सो उस समय क्या हुआ कि हम 5 वर्ष के युग में जो इंटरकैलेशन करते थे उसको हमने अब इंटरकैलेशन मेथड को 12 वर्ष के बृहस्पति चक्र पर लाया, जुपिटर साइकिल। तो ये बिगिनिंग था हमारे कुंभ मेलाओं का, क्योंकि हमने जो है एक जो इंटरकैलेशन की पद्धति जो है वो जुपिटर के साइकिल के बेस पर लेके आए। लेकिन अब हमने सोचा कि 5 वर्ष और 20 वर्ष का जो युग है उससे इंटरकैलेशन के जो एरर्स है वो ठीक नहीं हो रहे, तो हमने क्या किया, युग का कालांतर बढ़ाया, 12 वर्ष का लिखते हुए 1200 वर्षों का एक युग ले लिया। इसलिए त्रेता युग जो है 6777 बीसी में स्टार्ट होके 1200 वर्षों का रहा है, वो हो जाएगा 5577 बीसी में त्रेता युग समाप्त हो जाता है। त्रेता युग के समाप्ति में फिर हमने सोचा कि ये जो है काला और बढ़ाना चाहिए, ये जो एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कैलकुलेशन में जो एरर है, तो 12,000 वर्षों का आया, फिर डिफरेंशियल ड्यूरेशन आया, फिर 12,000 वर्षों को हमने 360 से मल्टीप्लाई करके 43,20,000 ईयर्स का एक चतुर्युग हो गया। ये क्यों किया गया, क्योंकि एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कैलकुलेशन को एक्यूरेट करने के लिए। लेकिन इसके चक्कर में क्या हुआ कि हम अपनी ऐतिहासिक क्रोनोलॉजी जो है वो हम कहीं भटक गए, क्योंकि इतने लाखों करोड़ों वर्षों का जब कैलेंडर बना है वो कैलेंड्रिकल कैलकुलेशन की एक्यूरेसी के लिए, लेकिन हम कालांतर में उसी को ही हमारी क्रोनोलॉजी समझने लगे, तो फिर हमारे लिए क्योंकि क्रोनोलॉजी और जीनियोलॉजी कम पड़ गए, तो इसलिए रामायण में जब रामायण का रिकम्पाइलेशन हुआ गुप्त या उससे गुप्त वर्ष, उसके में कि भगवान राम जो 11,000 ईयर्स, दशवर्ष सहस्राणी, उसकी बात करते हैं, तो वो इस तरह हुआ, तो उसको आप 360 से डिवाइड कर दीजिए तो 31-32 ईयर्स का समय आता है ड्यूरेशन का। तो हमें जो है जो मानव भारतीयों का जो इतिहास है और जो एस्ट्रोनॉमी किस तरीके से हमारा कैलेंडर विकसित हुआ है, दोनों को साथ में लेकर चलेंगे, हमें एविडेंसेस मिलेंगे, उस क्रोनोलॉजी को हम एस्टेब्लिश कर पाएंगे। तो सबसे पहले मैंने किया युग क्रोनोलॉजी के लिए हमें मयासुर का जो कृतयुगांत ईयर है उसको फिक्स करना है। वो मैंने एस्ट्रोनॉमिकली जो आप किसी भी सॉफ्टवेयर में आप सिमुलेट करके देखते, लेकिन आपको लेना पड़ेगा जेपीएल होराइजन का टाइम डी करेक्शन, क्योंकि जो चंद्रमा की जो गति है वो गुरुत्वाकर्षण से प्रभावित होता है, तो आपको एक टाइम करेक्शन का एक फॉर्मूला लेना पड़ेगा। वो मैंने नासा के जेपीएल होराइजन का वो कैलकुलेशन, वो टाइम डी करेक्शन लिखता है। 22 फरवरी एग्जैक्टली जो है विदिन 26 डिग्रीज एक ग्रेट कंजंक्शन हुआ है एरीज में। तो इस तरीके से सूर्य सिद्धांत जो है आज से 8,800 साल पहले लिखा गया, और अगर श्रीलंका जो है वो एक द्वीप ही नहीं था अगर 6,000 बीसी से पीछे जाएंगे, क्योंकि वो भारत से जुड़ा हुआ था। वो दोनों के बीच का जो भूभाग है वो पानी में डूबना शुरू हुआ है रामायण युग से 200-300 साल पहले। उस समय श्री राम जी और उनकी जो हनुमान की सेना थी, उन्होंने कुछ मिट्टी पत्थर और प्लेट डाल के उसको ऊपर उठाया, वो पानी में बह गया। जो है वो नेचुरल फॉर्मेशन है, हम ये नहीं कह रहे कि जो नेचुरल फॉर्मेशन उसको किसी ने उसको कंस्ट्रक्ट किया, उसके ऊपर मिट्टी पत्थर लगे एक प्लेटफॉर्म रेज किया गया ताकि हाई टाइड के समय भी वो डूबे नहीं। ये राम सेतु के निर्माण का समय, तो वो हमें ये सी लेवल स्टडी से भी हम एक स्थापित कर सकते हैं। एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल एविडेंस भी हमें स्थापित करता है कि वो रामायण का जो त्रेता युग का पीरियड है वो 677 बीसी से लेके 557। तो इसलिए जो है हमें जो युगों की कल्पना है हमें प्रिसेशन के आधार पर स्पेकुलेट ना करके, क्योंकि युक्तेश्वर स्वामी जी ने एक अपना एक प्रिसेशन के आधार पर सोचा कि इस तरह का युग साइकिल होना चाहिए, लेकिन उसका मुझे कहीं भी हमारे टेक्सचुअल एविडेंस मुझे नहीं मिला। हमें देखना है कि टेक्सचुअल एविडेंसेस में हमारे इतिहास में किस तरीके से हमें केवल भारतीय कैलेंडर का विकास कैसे हुआ है, हमें वैदिक युग से लेकर हम स्टडी करेंगे, हमें अपनी क्रोनोलॉजी मिल जाएगी।
I am glad that you have taken that Yukteswar Maharaj into account, but I am also of the view that that astronomy will give you very exact kind of things. Both Ramayana and Mahabharata, they mention, you know, various conjunction of planets and
Yes.
you know, which was in which nakshatra at so and so time, everything.
Yes.
And if that is given more weightage, I feel that we give her more determinantal dates. If we take if we give more weightage to the astronomy in all this.
Yes.
Because like somebody was saying कि हम लोगों ने हमारे वेद शास्त्रों में ज्यादा लोगों ने डेट वगैरह मेंशन नहीं की, डेट तो मेंशन नहीं की, लेकिन उन्होंने एस्ट्रोलॉजिकल जो कंजंक्शंस हैं वो सबका मेंशन किया है। जब भगवान राम कब पैदा हुए थे उन्होंने मेंशन किया है, श्री कृष्ण जी कब पैदा हुए वो भी मेंशन किया हुआ है। So all those dates are fixed and they can be found out now because of our, you know, the thing which you have, the programs which are there now. Because of that, we can fix exact dates.
Yes.
That's my submission.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको। समय बहुत कम रह गया है हमारे पास और माननीय बाल मुकुंद जी का जो अखिल भारतीय इतिहास संकलन योजना के राष्ट्रीय संगठन सचिव हैं, उनका हमें पाथेय प्राप्त करना है। ये चर्चा तो अनंत है, इस चर्चा का कोई कंक्लूजन हम लोग इतने जल्दी नहीं पा सकते। 3 दिन इस चर्चा में हम रहेंगे और मैं इस जो चर्चा चल रही है इस शताब्दी में 100 वर्ष 150 वर्ष पुरानी है और इस 150 वर्ष पुरानी चर्चा को मैं एक प्राचीन उदाहरण से इसको उठाता हूँ। एक पंडित मधुसूदन ओझा थे, बड़े भारी विद्वान थे, राज पंडित थे, बहुत ग्रंथ उन्होंने लिखे हैं। उनका एक ग्रंथ है जगत गुरु वैभवम और उस जगत गुरु वैभवम में जयपुर राजकीय ज्योतिष यंत्रालय के एक अध्यक्ष थे, बड़े अपने जमाने के वैदिक ज्योतिष के बड़े विद्वान थे। उनका नाम था पंडित केदारनाथ शर्मा जी और वो कहते थे कि शतपथ ब्राह्मण जो है वो महाभारत से परवर्ती है, महाभारत के बाद लिखा गया शतपथ ब्राह्मण। और उनका प्रमाण ये था, वो कहते थे कि शतपथ ब्राह्मण के समय यह संपात बिंदु कृत्रिका नक्षत्र पर था। एक वो शतपथ ब्राह्मण का पंक्ति उद्धृत करते हैं, कृत्रिका प्राचीतो न च्यवन्ति, और इसका अर्थ वो कहते हैं कि उस समय भूमध्य रेखा की सीध कृत्रिका नक्षत्र पर थी। जब कृत्रिका ठीक पूर्व में दिखती थी तब यह काल 3000 वर्ष पूर्व का सिद्ध होता है। ये उन्होंने ज्योतिष की दृष्टि से रखा। लेकिन जब महाभारत ग्रंथ का अध्ययन करते हैं, टेक्सचुअल जिसको रवि जी प्रस्तुत कर रहे थे, उस टेक्सचुअल एविडेंस को जब हम देखते हैं तो महाभारत के शांति पर्व में 310 अध्याय से लेकर के 308 अध्याय तक उसमें शतपथ ब्राह्मण के निर्माण की बात की गई, शतपथ ब्राह्मण की चर्चा है, इतिहास। तो ये जो विषय ऐसी कंट्राडिक्टरी आते हैं कि टेक्सचुअल एविडेंस कुछ कहता है और एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल कुछ कहता है। दूसरा, आपको मोहन गुप्ता जी हैं, ये मोहन गुप्ता जी ने भी बहुत काम किया पूर्व में, और उन्होंने युधिष्ठिर और कृष्ण की जन्म कुंडली बनाई और उस जन्म कुंडली के आधार पर उन्होंने सिद्ध किया कि युधिष्ठिर से छोटे थे कृष्ण, कुछ वर्ष छोटे थे। लेकिन जो हम आदि पर्व में श्लोक पाते हैं और अन्य श्लोक हैं जिसमें ये दिखता है कि कृष्ण युधिष्ठिर से छोटे नहीं थे। तो ये बहुत सारे ऐसे विषय हैं और आदरणीय वेद वीर जी इन सब विषयों को ध्यान में रख करके बहुत उत्कृष्ट विमर्श कर रहे हैं। और ये जरूर हम लोग कुछ वर्षों में, क्योंकि वो संस्कृत के भी बड़े विद्वान हैं और इन विषयों में उनकी गहरी रुचि हुई है, अब युग वर्णन जब हम विष्णु पुराण का अध्ययन करते हैं तो वहाँ स्वयंभू मनवंतर की चर्चा होती है, और स्वयंभू से लेके वैवस्वत मनवंतर, अब इतना करोड़ों करोड़ों वर्ष का इतिहास है। उस इतिहास के हम बहुत से छोटे से कण को हम लेकर के चर्चा कर रहे हैं। तो ये लंबी कहानी है और इसमें सतत चिंतन विमर्श की जरूरत है, और ऐसे योग्य लोग यहाँ पर उपस्थित हैं। तो अवश्य ही हम लोग धीरे धीरे, क्योंकि संस्कृत में कहा गया है सनई पंथा सनई कंथा सनई पर्वत लंघनम, तो ये विद्या का विमर्श है, ज्ञान का कोई जल्दी नहीं है कि आज ही हम निष्कर्ष निकाल लें, लेकिन इसमें सतत चिंतन मनन से जरूर हम, क्योंकि बहुत सारे प्रमाण हैं उनको हमें चर्चा विमर्श करना है। आप सोचिए वेद व्यास, जिस वेद व्यास ने महाभारत लिखा, जिस वेद व्यास ने अष्टादश पुराण विभक्ति किया, उसी वेद व्यास ने चतुर्धा संहिताकरण किया, वेद की 4 संहिताएं की, उसी समय 4 संहिताएं उन्होंने की। तो इन सब विषयों को विष्णु पुराण में 28 व्यास, तो ये सब विमर्श हम लोग करेंगे। आदरणीय माननीय बाल मुकुंद जी पांडे जी से अनुरोध करूंगा, जो भारतीय इतिहास संकलन योजना के राष्ट्रीय संगठन मंत्री हैं, और आज के इस विमर्श पर अपना उद्बोधन दें। और आज हमारे बीच में बड़े बड़े विद्वान हैं जो इन लोगों ने इसका विमर्श किया है। आदरणीय नीरा मिश्रा जी ने ये सहयोग हम लोगों के लिए उपस्थित किया। मैं आदरणीय पांडे जी से अनुरोध करता हूँ। जी,
मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि जो हम लोग इतने लंबे समय से सुन रहे हैं, थोड़ी बहुत हमारी भी सुननी चाहिए।
जी सर बोलिए।
हमारी ये सुननी चाहिए कि हमने भी काम किया है, पांडे जी जानते हैं, महाभारत कालीन भारत पर हमने रिसर्च किया है।
हम तो बार बार कि किसी की जिज्ञासा बताएं। आवाज साफ नहीं आ रही
सर आपका नेटवर्क शायद लो है, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि इतनी देर से हम लोग सुन रहे हैं, कोई समय ऐसा भी रखो कि हमारी भी कोई बात सुनी जाए। काम हमने भी किया है महाभारत पर।
जी, हम लोग 1 घंटे से यही विमर्श रखे हैं सर, बहुत सुंदर महाभारत कालीन भारत। तो आप अपनी बात कुछ 2-4 मिनट में रखें सर, फिर हम माननीय बाल मुकुंद जी का उद्बोधन हम सुनेंगे। 2 मिनट में अपनी बात कहिए।
हमने इसमें तिथि निकाली है और महाभारत के असली निकाली है। महाभारत के अंदर ही बहुत कुछ दिया हुआ है, उसको पुष्ट करने के लिए 276 ग्रंथों का रेफरेंस भी दिया है।
तो
ईसा पूर्व 3102 वर्ष जो है, ये अपने आप में प्रमाणिक है कृष्ण जी की मृत्यु के।
अपना नाम बताएंगे प्लीज।
चले जाइए आप।
आपके ग्रंथ को
डॉक्टर हेमेंद्र
ने जरूर देखा होगा।
आपका नाम बताएंगे भाई साहब प्लीज।
डॉक्टर हेमेंद्र कुमार।
अच्छा ठीक है।
आपके ग्रंथ को आदरणीय वेदवीर जी ने जरूर देखा होगा, क्योंकि वो बहुत ही प्रामाणिक विद्वान हैं।
पांडे जी के पास मेरी पुस्तक है, ठाकुर राम सिंह जी के निर्देशन में लिखी गई है ये।
जी 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 जी,
उनके पास है। इसमें सारे तिथियों के पुरातात्विक, पंचांग, महाभारत और अन्य ग्रंथों के प्रमाण देकर के तिथि निर्धारित की गई है सारी पूरे युद्ध की।
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत सुंदर। हम लोग इस ग्रंथ को और भी विद्वानों में प्रचारित प्रसारित करेंगे। अब मैं आदरणीय बाल मुकुंद पांडे जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि अपने उद्बोधन से हमें अनुग्रहित करें। आपका जीवन राष्ट्र के लिए समर्पित है। आदरणीय बाल मुकुंद पांडे जी। शिवानी जी देखिए भाई साहब जुड़े हैं।
सर एक सेकंड में चेक कर रही हूँ।
जुड़े तो थे
सर अभी वो नहीं है। मैं आप 2 मिनट आपका डिस्कशन कीजिए, मैं उनको कॉल करती हूँ।
ये तो जुड़े थे ना।
हाँ जुड़े थे बट
जुड़े थे वो जुड़े थे मैम, बट
फोन
अभी
करो,
नहीं।
प्लीज फोन करो।
हाँ मैं कॉल करती हूँ, आप लोग आपका डिस्कशन जारी रखिए।
इसको है ना आगे बढ़ाते मैं एक बार जिजित जी से एक प्रश्न करना चाहूंगा।
जी
जिजित
बताइए।
हाँ जी, I think that you are talking about that Kshemaka was contemporary of Mahapadmananda. I think as per my studies, there is no reference in the Puranas at all. It was just an assumption by the certain scholars. But
yes.
It's an assumption. Since there is a genealogy given from Yudhishthira to Kshemaka that is available, but nowhere it is mentioned that Kshemaka was a contemporary of Mahapadmananda.
Yeah. In fact, I have very clearly shown in the that PPT that these are the 3 assumptions. The contemporaries is an assumption. Mahapadmananda's 350 BC date, that is an assumption, and that average generation gap, that is 25 to 35 years. So these are 3 assumptions. And second thing I'll tell, all of them are reasonable assumptions. For example, 25 to 35 years, you will get the similar kind of a range if you divide this Parishit to Mahapadmananda's that Vishnu Purana 1015 years are mentioned. You might divide by 30, then you get more or less that same range, that is 25 to 35 years of generation gap. Similarly, the contemporaries also approximately you can get by looking at the this genealogy of Kurus. Kurus means Yudhishthira to Kshemaka, and then there is Magadha genealogy is there. So they, in fact, exact numbers are not matching, but chronologically, if you will see there is a very similarity. Like it will be like something like 1015 days straight is coming from the Vishnu Purana. But if you keep that as one of the point, you can actually look at count the number of kings from Yudhishthira to Kshemaka in the Kuru lineage, and then you can look at the Magadha lineage also mentioned in Vishnu Purana. So you can see like more or less they are matching. This
No, that's the generation gap and the year, that's okay. What I'm saying that how can we say that Kshemaka was a contemporary of Mahapadmananda?
Yeah, that is a basic assumption that you put. But if that assumption breaks, then definitely you will have a kind of a difference. But
yes.
Yeah, if you are correct, but I all the 3 are assumptions.
Yes.
Yes is assumption. 350 to 450 BC of Mahapadman's current accepted date of Mahapadmananda is an assumption. A different date for that. Second is contemporaneous also is assumption. You can assumption means, for example, they may exactly not be contemporary because I counted the number of kings. Maybe there is a one generation, 1 or 2, but not more than that. You can see that by counting the king list of Magadha kings and this Kuru kings. Ikshvaku kings also is there, and they are matching it. But I'm very much not reliable on the Ikshvaku king because sometimes they push kings from here and there. I have analyzed Ramayana. So many kings of Kuru lineage, that is Ayla Kuru, Bharata Kuru lineage. Yayati, everybody is coming into the Ikshvaku lineage. So we cannot have 100% reliability on it. And Kuru, they are matching more or less. So contemporaneous means typically what happens, may not be exactly living it, but at least father, grandfather kind of, that is very closest generation they are matching. This is what I have seen from the Vishnu Purana. Yes.
We have to fix the Buddha Nirvana because that 350 BC as the date of Mahapadmananda was based on the Buddha's Nirvana date around 483.
Yeah.
So now the problem is the chronological error, because our traditional chronology establishes that Buddha was almost 200 years before Nanda.
Yes.
So the genealogy given in the Puranas from the Brihadratha's reigned up to 1000 years, thereafter Pradyotha's 138, and then the Shishunaga around 360, they are 1500 years. So there is a reference 1050 in Puranas. Probably that Panchashat or Panchashata. Actually, it appears that a scribe made some mistake. Panchashata became Panchashat. So that may lead to some 400 years error. But that can be reconciled based on the individual dynasty's regnal period given in Puranas.
So that is why my habitable zone, if you look at, that is extended from 1015 to 1500. If you look,
yes,
counted that one maybe a clerical error like that I mentioned, but it can also be has to be counted. So I have mentioned that okay, one of the versions of the Vayu Purana is giving a date of 1500 years. So we consider even that we have to take in that also. I have
वेदवीर आर्य जी,
हाँ जी,
आर्य
जी,
मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ आ रही है।
मैं डॉक्टर हेमेंद्र कुमार राजपूत बोल रहा हूँ।
हाँ नमस्कार जी।
नमस्कार जी। जो महाभारत की तिथि है ना, उसके लिए भारत में ही वर्णन है। जो मकर संक्रांति मनाते हैं हम, उसकी चर्चा आई है। और जो सूर्य ग्रहण हुआ था जब जयद्रथ का वध हुआ था, उसको माध्यम मान करके हमने महाभारत की तिथि निर्धारित की है। 3139वें वर्ष ईसा पूर्व वर्ष पहले महाभारत का युद्ध हुआ था। उन दोनों को आधार माना और उसका वर्णन उनको अब आप
आप अपना वीडियो बंद करके बोलेंगे तो आवाज आएगी। वीडियो बंद करके बोलिए तो आवाज आएगी। नेटवर्क कमजोर है आपका। वीडियो ऑफ करके बोलिए तो आवाज आएगी।
नहीं, वैसे वो एस्ट्रोनॉमी से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चन कर रहे, वो हम कल डिसाइड, आज केवल टेक्सचुअल एंड इंस्क्रिप्शन एविडेंसेस सब्जेक्ट था। एस्ट्रोनॉमी बेस्ड जो डिस्कशन से हम कल करेंगे, क्योंकि वो ये इस तरह डिसाइड हुआ था प्रोग्राम का जो भी शेड्यूल था। एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल डेटिंग ऑफ जी जी
इंस्क्रिप्शंस के ऊपर एक सवाल
जी।
ये जितने भी डॉक्टर राजा ने जो एग्जांपल्स दिए इंस्क्रिप्शंस के, दे आर मोस्टली फ्रॉम 6th 7th century AD, that is CE, whereas we do get inscriptions before from Ashoka's time also. Does any of them, I'm not aware, any of them mention anything about Kali Yuga, time reckoning in Kali Yuga? Because see, from Aryabhat's time, this has been coming down, and since the Aryabhat school became very, very influential all over India, so it's quite possible that time reckoning of through Kali Yuga era was kind of adopted then, because if you go into details of Aryabhat's calculations, it gives you, I mean, the assumption is that there was a grand conjunction in 3102 BC, 17-18 February, which if you calculate according to modern elements, planetary elements, it doesn't come out as a conjunction. There have been close passes, but they're very frequent. Every 40-50 years you do get conjunction like that. So what I mean to say that is it because of a very sound system of using an era which was established during Aryabhat's time, that this is adopted, and all kingdoms everywhere, the inscriptions after that period are using it?
Actually, what we have to understand first, when the tradition of using this Yuga Chaturyuga started, it is from the beginning of Vedic era. We followed that Yuga calendar and Chaturyuga calendar. Later, the Yuga length increased. So this use of Kali Yuga, means the reference to, like in Bharata Natya Shastra. Bharata refers that he is writing Natya Shastra in the Vaivasvata Manvantara Treta Yuga, the 28th Treta Yuga he is writing. And the Mayasura refers to at the end of Krita Yuga, 28th Krita Yuga in this 7th Manvantara. So the literary references are much, much ancient. inscriptional evidence, I found one inscription which has been dated somewhere 2500 years Kali Yuga. That inscription is available in Vijayawada near Hyderabad, maybe 200 years later. So that inscription refers to a date of the Kali. A reference is there. The earliest Kali reference in the inscriptions we found is 2005. Even Adi Shankaracharya's time is given Tishye Prayatyanala Vadi Bananetre. So he is giving the dating of Adi Shankaracharya's birth date also in Kali Yuga. But the problem is Kali we should not think as a cycle, like a kind of a Neolithic period or kind of a Bronze era, not like that. The yugas are actually.
आप म्यूट हो गए
क्या मेरा? Hello, I'm audible?
Yes.
Yes. No, this Kali Yuga जो प्रारंभ है वो हमें हर एक सिद्धांत में देखना पड़ेगा, because what I explained you that in a Saptarshi calendar you cannot start in midway, you have to complete 100 years. So 3176 or 3076. So you can't start the Kali Yuga in between, because in a Chatur Yuga, even 4,32,000, there are cycles of 160 cycles of 2,700 years of Saptarshi cycle. And what happened after Varaham era, the 1st century BC, thereafter we started using Chaitra Shukla, the calendar, in Surya Siddhanta. Since we are referring to Surya Siddhanta, the Surya Siddhanta written by Latadeva, who actually recompiled, and he referred to 3101 BC as an epoch. Why? Because Mayasura wrote referring to a conjunction. There was a two schools. Somebody starting with the just position of Brihaspati in one, like a 60-year cycle.
That is what.
So the use of 3101 is the tradition of last 2000 years. Before that, we were not following the 3101 as the Kali.
Right. No, that is what the point was, that after Siddhantic period only, until today in all Panchangs, Kali era is used, whereas the inscriptions provide only from 6th century AD. So my surmise is that after, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes. Actually, there is one more inscription in somewhere in the Jaisalmer. He even refers to 3101 as the Yudhishthira Samvat. So he mistakenly takes the Surya Siddhanta's reference to the epoch of Kali Yuga as the Yudhishthira Samvat also. So later period, there are many confusions. Actually, 3138, we generally refer it as a traditional date. Actually, it was not traditional date. This date only hardly 100 or 200 years old. Before that, nobody knows. There is no reference to the 3138 BC as a epoch of Mahabharata. It is just since we have assumed that 3101 is the epoch of Kali, then we calculated backwards another 36 years, and then arrived at 3138 as traditional date.
Dr. Shukla, I think we have to wind up because Dr. Balmukund जी आज नहीं बोल पा रहे हैं. तो हम लोग उनको कल आमंत्रित कर लेंगे, उनका इनॉग्रेशन या कंक्लूजन में जैसा उनको सूट करेगा. आई थिंक हम टाइम आउट हो गया, इसीलिए वो निकल गए होंगे.
जी.
तो और आप सब कल तो फिर ज्वाइन करेंगे ही, तो अब प्लीज थोड़ा इसको आप कंक्लूड कर दीजिए.
तो आज की चर्चा बहुत ही अच्छी रही और सभी विद्वानों ने इतने महत्वपूर्ण विषयों को रखा है और बड़े ही अनुसंधान पूर्वक. हमें इन विषयों को बड़े ही सावधानी पूर्वक आगे बढ़ना है, क्योंकि काल गणना जो मनवंतर की पद्धति है और जो संवत्सर का विषय है, वर्ष कितने इतने वर्षों तक राज्य किया इत्यादि, तो उनको भी समझने की एक पद्धति है अपनी, क्योंकि उस पद्धति को जब तक हम उससे अवगत नहीं होंगे तब तक उस पद्धति को समझना भी बड़ा मुश्किल होगा। और हमारे बीच में सभी बड़े बड़े विद्वान हैं और आदरणीय हमारे वेदवीर जी इस विषय में लगे हुए हैं और उनका अध्ययन गंभीर है और सभी तरफ से उन्होंने विषयों को इकट्ठा किया है और उस दृष्टि से उन्होंने इसका प्रतिपादन किया है। मैं एक दो विषय रखता हूँ, संक्षेप में एक विषय रखूंगा। जैसे 100 वर्ष मनुष्य के जीने की आयु की चर्चा जैमिनी ने की है और पश्चिम सरदह शतम, ये हम वैदिक मंत्र जानते हैं। तो कैसे कोई 1000 वर्ष 8000 वर्ष राज्य कर सकता है? तो उन्होंने लिखा है, मधुसूदन ओझा ने इन विषयों को किस तरह से शतायुर्वै पुरुषः ये रख करके और जो राज्य काल है, व्यक्ति का समय है, उनको निर्धारण करने में उन्होंने जो सौर्य चंद्र संवत्सर है 360 दिन का, उसको हम कहते हैं सवनाब्द, चंद्राब्द, नक्षत्राब्द, पार्थिवाब्द। पार्थिवाब्द का मतलब होता है कि व्यक्ति, हम लोगों का एक दिन जो है वो 24 घंटे का होता। तो इस दृष्टि से उन्होंने एक गणित बनाई है कि किस तरह से उनकी काल गणना करनी चाहिए, जो वर्ष कितने वर्ष तक राज्य किया, कितनी उनकी आयु थी। तो ये सब विषय हम सभी के ध्यान में है और हमारे बीच में सभी लोग इस विषय के मर्मज्ञ हैं। तो आज इस गोष्ठी में बैठ करके हम सभी लोगों को बहुत ही आनंद आया, नए नए विषय हमारे सामने आए और कल पुनः चर्चा इन विषयों पर होगी। तो क्योंकि अब आइसोलेशन में एक शास्त्र नहीं पढ़ा जा सकता, केवल पुराण के आधार पर, केवल टेक्स्ट के आधार पर। अब आर्कियोलॉजी आ गई है, अब हमारे पास गणित करने के लिए बहुत सारे यंत्र आ गए हैं, तो उसी के आधार पर काल गणना कर रहे हैं। अब हमारे यदि उस काल गणना के अधिकतम पीरियड तक करने की हमारा सामर्थ्य हो जाए, अब उत्खनन इंस्क्रिप्शन की बात हो रही है, तो हो सकते बहुत सारे इंस्क्रिप्शन हो, अभी हमें मिले नहीं, सब जगह तो उत्खनन हुआ नहीं, तो हो सकते पुराने इंस्क्रिप्शन और भी मिले जिनसे हम और महत्वपूर्ण प्रमाणों को प्राप्त करें। तो ये सब विषय बहुत ही हमारे लिए शोध के हैं और नीरा जी ने बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय लेकर के काल गणना पर यह कार्य टाइम का हम किस तरह से चर्चा करें और विविध दृष्टियों से आज चर्चा हुई। आप सभी के प्रति मैं कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करता हूं, सभी प्रतिभागियों के प्रति, विशेष रूप से जिन लोगों ने आज व्याख्यान दिए हैं उन्होंने बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषयों को उठाया है और जितने लोग श्रोता के रूप में थे उनके भी प्रति हम कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हैं कि अभी 9:30 हो गया है और फिर भी आप 7 बजे से जुड़े हुए हैं। आप सभी के प्रति हम कृतज्ञ हैं। आदरणीय नीरा जी के प्रति जो इस तरह से हमारे बौद्धिक विमर्श को, क्योंकि जो हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल इतिहास है, बौद्धिक इतिहास है, उनको पढ़ना, उनको समझना, उनके बारे में एक विमर्श स्थापित करना देश समाज के लिए, क्योंकि आज लोग सोचते हैं कि अपने अपने ढंग से वो विचार करते हैं, तो हमें भी अपने भारतीय ढंग से, अपनी पद्धति से इन विषयों का विचार करना चाहिए। छोड़ देने से तो कुछ काम नहीं होगा, हमें कुछ न कुछ इन विषयों पर ठीक अपना मत उपस्थापित करना चाहिए। इन सभी दृष्टियों से आप अत्यंत धन्यवाद की पात्र हैं आदरणीय मिश्रा जी, और आप सभी के प्रति पौनः पुण्येन कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करते हुए सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, माँ कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ सभी के प्रति पुनः पुनः साधुवाद, नमस्कार, धन्यवाद।
प्रोफेसर संतोष कुमार शुक्ला जी और मैं सभी का बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी आज के सेशन को इतना लाइव, इतना इंटरेक्टिव प्लस इतना नॉलेजेबल बनाने के लिए। और ये डिबेट चलता रहेगा। इसके कंक्लूजन पे हम इतना जल्द नहीं पहुंच सकते, ये जैसा कि प्रोफेसर संतोष जी ने कहा था। कल हम फिर मिलेंगे 6:30 बजे से, आप लॉग इन कर सकते हैं। 7 बजे कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत करेंगे और थोड़ा और ज्ञान इसी डिबेट के साथ हम प्राप्त करेंगे। इसी के साथ आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। गुड नाइट, शुभ रात्रि, शब्बा खैर।
शुभ रात्रि, ऑल द बेस्ट।
Thank you so much. Good night. Sign out कर देंगे।